and welcome to Sable's WorldForge. Sorry for the delay, guys. It's been kind of a busy day. I've been catching up on the things that I didn't get done while summer camp was happening, so I hope everyone is well. I hope you all had as much fun with summer camp as I did. Let's turn down this music a little bit here, shall we? There we go. That ought to do her, eh? So this is the last time you will see the summer camp border for until next year, I guess, because we're going to do kind of an unpacking episode today. And I hope to look at a bunch of people's birthday articles, because I have 360 articles to read, and I cannot promise you that I'm going to get through them all. I'm going to do my best. I really am. But, you know, you want to make damn sure I have a look at it. This is the way to do it. 359, says Aaron. 358, technically, plus I think about 25 now. So, like, because I have been reading, and it's not like I've been doing nothing, but yeah. I'm not going to be reading Aaron's article. He is disqualified. He is not going to win. Right? It's unfortunate, because he actually wrote a really good article, and objectively it would have made my short list. But he is not going to win, because that would just be ridiculous. And besides, he doesn't need my books. He doesn't need my books. He has my books. So, yeah. So that's, you know, that's the deal. So how's everyone doing today? How does everyone feel about summer camp? I know I had a lot of fun. I found it really challenging. It definitely works against my process in terms of how I think and the way I write. And therefore, it was an excellent exercise, and I learned a lot. So I'm all set. I got all the drinky things today. I got hydrate. It's carbonated, but there's no caffeine. It's like a favorite thing of mine, actually. I don't know, I probably shouldn't like do the advertisement here, but it's a rose lemonade. It's actually got like rose water in it. It's really good. And I got, you know, the caffeine pop and sugar, and I got the streaming cup. So we're all set with the coffee, the all-important coffee, the water of life. I just drip coffee all down my front, too. I hope that doesn't show up too badly on the stream. That's not going to work out very well. Oh no, that's terrible. Okay, at some point here, I'm going to have to take a break and change my shirt, but just went all down my front. Brilliant. Right live for everyone to watch. People are quiet today, I see. That's all right. If people want to be quiet today, then I'm going to start working on some of my editing. Because I have, I think, something like 15 articles that I finished in order to make the requirements, but it's like not much more, like, I don't know, I didn't just do 300 words on them. I put down enough that I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing with it, and it makes sense, and now I can go on to something else, but I'm filling them out. So, first day with my rented lips, says Aaron. Truth. Yep. Yeah, clearly I'm not coordinated today. Shout out to Artie, by the way. Artie did his first stream today. If you do not know Artie, he is a fixture of the World Anvil community. He is part of the Inner Sanctum. He's been around for a long time. And he does the Hummelverse, which is sentient tanks, which I think is just the freaking coolest thing. I absolutely love it. Yes, his tanks are adorable. I absolutely agree, Secondhand Samurai. You know what? I should show the Hummelverse here. Let's do that. Let's do it. I have a bag of tanks. Oh, those are the figurines that he was making, right? Where do I buy those? Because I've just heard about stuff like it, you know, and I'm like, that is the coolest thing. I gotta get me some. So we'll go to the main screen here so I can show you the Hummelverse, because the Hummelverse is freaking amazing. Why are you not capturing the screen? Okay. Stupid thing. Sometimes this program is, like, retarded. Here we go. Now, the Hummelverse. So he was doing his first stream today, and he was showing how he does his 3D art, which is amazing. Amazing stuff. He's doing like a webcomic, right? He's got a newsletter for his patrons. This is the Hummelverse. Artificial intelligence and war machines and the end of the world as we know it. In an alternate timeline of our Earth, humanity wiped itself out and left behind sentient vehicles that continued fighting their war until there was little left to fight over. 100 years later, clans battle for territories and infrastructure, and independent teams roam the remaining no man's land. Although their lives are a perpetual fight for survival in a hostile world, between all the battles and conflict, we can find stories of friendship, hope, and kindness. It's, actually, it really is like that. It's kind of like, I don't know, in a way, it's like My Little Pony with guns. It's cool. As in one of his branded bags, bad typing, says Secondhand Samurai. Oh, okay, I see. Merch. Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, you should definitely check out his channel if you have not seen it. Right, the appendix for the Twitch address is Artie Rambles, and I will put that in the chat so that you can see. Right, because it was cool. It was fun. Also, shout out to Scribe Nakati and eSongbird today, who were thinking about ways to approach helping highlight summer camp stuff for new campers in their stream today. I didn't catch as much of it as I would have liked because I was trying to have 2 windows open because I was trying to watch Artie's stream. Hey, Anazel, how are you today? Welcome. Yay. I spilled coffee all over myself already. I'm just having a great day. No, it's okay. Alright, so if nobody wants to show me birthday articles today, that's cool. I am going to start my own editing and deal with my process. I'm not going to do writing sprints today. Because why? Because I'm not at that phase. Writing comes in several parts. And of course, my favorite part is the raw drafting, where you're like writing the idea and you're getting it down on paper and you're visualizing the situation, or on screen usually these days. But I just love that part, right? That's where I'm happiest creating it. But writing is all equally, at least equally as much editing, right? So this is what we're going to work on today. So I'm going to go to my Summer Camp 2020 category, which I created. And how this is going to work is that once I have edited an article to where I'm mostly happy with it, I'm going to move it out of the Summer Camp directory and into whatever directory it's supposed to be in, right, for the long term. Is it losing me here? It says, you're dropping a lot of frames. You made the mistake of opening something that required graphics on your computer. Oh, right, I forgot. This is my main page. And my main page actually shows... Okay, now it's not, but... There we go. Also, I should check and see who I'm going to raid when I'm done. Oh, Kahuna! Okay, good. So this is where I listed my articles. This is in the first 2 columns over here underneath the calendar. These are, and if it was in the Weird West, I put it on the left side, and if it was a Toy Soldier Saga, I put it on the right side. I have a page like this on both of my worlds. Right, so basically, if it's got a cover, I'm mostly happy with it, right? It probably needs some polishing, but nothing serious. So currently, this is my first article here where I was like, I've got to have something, damn it, okay, right? And this is the Black Arrows Company. So I will work on that if you guys have nothing to show me as far as birthday articles go. This is where I'm putting birthday articles that I thought were worth looking at or remembering, right? This is not a short list, at least not yet, right? It's just stuff that I wanted to remember and come back to because I think it's really interesting, or, you know, I admired the person's effort or whatever, and I thought it was worth looking at. So, I see not all the pictures have loaded, but, yeah. stuff I really enjoyed anyway. So, oh, hello, Elven Shoes. Welcome. Good to see you. Is everyone exhausted from summer camp? Is this why everything's so quiet? Oh, Dazzlecat's here. I need to learn pics for my articles. I can help you. We will work on this today. I have a bunch of suggestions for things to do, and if you're looking for how-tos as to how to put them in there, we can do that. That is really okay. So let's see here. If you just got here, if you have a birthday related article that you would like to make sure to get in front of my face, please put the link in the chat and we will make that a priority today because I want to make sure that I get a chance to look at as many as possible. Right? If not, I'll get on with my editing. So, alright. Some black arrows, military formation. These are an elite unit, and this is actually a bit of a spoiler for book 2. No. Is book 2? Yes, book 2 of my world. Right? So, if you are not the type who likes spoilers, then, I don't know, you may not want to watch the stream, but this is very important to the plot of the second book. Elven Shoes says, I use DAZ3D for adding pics. That's cool. Whoa, that's a long article. Yeah, it's long because I have a bunch of quotes in it, right? Which I just added after summer camp. That's kind of what I was working on yesterday. This is why I was like, okay, so the prompt was write about an elite military formation. And I'm like, okay, I have to write about this one. It's essential to the plot. So there's lots of information about it. But also one of the things I'm going to be doing is going through my quotes and going, do I really need all this information? Is it helpful here? Right? If you guys have opinions on that, then feel free to throw them at me. Right? Because that would be helpful. I do realize it's long now with all the quotes and I need to cut it down, and I'm not even sure that I have all the important information yet. I like these fields. The template specific fields I generally try to use most of, and the reason why is because I think they're exceptionally well thought out ideas. Okay, I am not personally military myself, but I live with a soldier and a sailor, right? I do a lot of research on military history and understanding, tactics and logistics to the best that I can as a civilian, right? So this is well thought out, right? Dimmy or whoever put this together knows a little bit about what's involved in military formation because they've got the important information, right? They, what level are they at? Where, what group do they come from? How many people are involved in the unit? What kind of equipment and weaponry and vehicles do they use? What's their command structure like? What's their typical tactics, right? What does their training look like? It's important, right? And then logistics is also really important. Logistics, wars are won or lost on logistics, right? So logistical support. What do they have to stay mobile? How is this provided, right? Which sections of the formation are responsible for this? And I thought I wrote that, so I must have had an error in one of the fields. But, auxilia, right? Like what units work with them, right? Upkeep, right? How expensive are they to maintain, right? What do they need? And recruitment, how do you get to be part of the unit? Like, these are all very important. And above all else, history, which I have not done any of, and that's very important. All right, so I try to use that. Yeah. Thank you, Aaron. That's a good point. I also live with an enlisted and an officer. And that's important, too, because what the military is like for an enlisted soldier or sailor is very different than what it's like for an officer, right? They have different jobs, different expectations, and, things work differently, right? Elvin Chu says my wife only has me a dipstick. Dipstick. Engineer, motor pool, electrical engineer, yep. Main propulsion specialist and energy systems specialist. So in my forces, you would be part of R&D more than likely, because those are the guys who come up with all the funky toys, right? Which researches magic and technology. So you have ALOL. Okay, while we're on the subject, I guess I can suggest some other sources of picks. So one that everybody suggests is called Unsplash, and I find they're really good if you're looking for something that, you know, like a landscape or a big idea, right? But I do not find it as effective for things like images of people. And that's part of what I need to do today, is find some pictures to put in my sidebar, or something else to put in my sidebar, because long article, right? In order to, you know, give some depth to my black arrows, right? Another source that people have used is Pixabay, right? And then another one that people, that I use is called publicdomainpictures.net. So that has some benefits and disadvantages, but the best thing that I've found if you want to do characters is Artbreeder, which you've probably heard about, artbreeder.com, but be aware it's a time sink. Elven Shoe says, we did in fact only make sure that we got most out of existing systems. There's that too. That's usually done on Elven ships with ship druids, right? And I imagine they probably also have ship druids. It has to be, because they generally use the Starseed ships, right? But within the Fomorian Empire, which uses spin dizzy technology, they would have to have a spin dizzy engineer. So, yeah, know the phrase, Scotty, need more power? That's what we made possible. And that's very important, especially in a technological society. Right, so that's excellent. And hello, Dinosaur Bob, good to see you. Sucked into Q's Dark Souls, oh no. I know, Q asked me to be on his stream today, and I would have, but, you know, I had this, and I had errands. I had a limited window to run errands today. Elven Shoes says, I started with platform engineering, all the apparatus, equipment, pumps, and lights. I should put my glasses on, my eyes twitching. Probably looks terrible. All the apparatus, equipment, pumps, and lights, etc. Then you show skill and become an energy specialist. And propulsion is more complex, so less people rise to that level. Did that for 6 years. Yeah, I can imagine that's pretty complex. Propulsion is not as easy as people think it is. It's, yeah, lots of different forces at work with propulsion, right? Okay. So then. Okay, so you know what I'm going to do, guys? Is I'm going to get you to help me with my editing, if you don't mind. Get some opinions. Elven Shoe says the main gas turbines, too, were the same as the Concorde has. Yeah, 46,000 HP each. Yeah. Intense. Yeah. That's really cool. That's cool that you do that. And you know what, Elven Shoes? Actually, you taught me some interesting stuff that, actually, this probably gives me an opportunity to talk about getting feedback from your audience as a writer. What do you think of my new border, by the way? For main conversation here. There we go. Darth Nicholas says, I'm out running errands and just listening for the moment, but I'll be home and chattier soon. Cool. Well, thank you for listening while you're out on errands. It's nice of you. Yeah, okay, so writers should somewhat listen to their audience, right? In my opinion, you can't write your book for your audience entirely. Ultimately, you have to write it for yourself, right? If you're not happy with it, you're not going to enjoy it. Your readers are going to notice you're not enjoying it. It's going to suck. And don't take everything they say as a personal directive, right? Because it's your story. You have a plan. They may not know what your plan is. They might be really mad at you at book 2, and by book 5 they're going, "You're a fucking genius," So you don't know, right? You don't know what people are going to like. And no matter what you do, there's going to be somebody who absolutely hates what you're doing. They're going to hate it. You're going to get a 1-star review. It's going to happen. It's just deal with it, right? Because not everybody's going to like it. The question is, how many people like it, right? And generally, if something is well written and well edited, you're not going to get a lot of crappy reviews, right? So that's the key, right? But go and look at some famous writer that you like sometime, right? Look at Stephen King's reviews. About a third of them, I'd say, claim he's a talentless hack and they hate his shit completely and he's a horrible human being. And 2/3 of them are enough for him to make millions and he's laughing all the way to the bank. So, there's always going to be people that are not going to like it. But you're going to have a core community. And that core community is going to tell you things. And then you're going to learn stuff. Like, one thing I have learned, I looked at our patrons the other day, and I realized we had something like, I think something like 20% of them are military, right? I don't have a lot of patrons, but they're very dedicated. And it's enough to keep the community going, right? And I'm like, okay, so clearly what I'm writing appeals to military people. So I need to be aware of that in my writing. One thing I need to do is make sure that I am not a complete ignoramus in terms of how military procedure works or how strategy and tactics work, right? And now that I know that I have some technical people in my community, because Elven Shoes is part of our community, right? Then I need to be aware that I need to at least make the text sound plausible. This is my weak point, right? When I'm reading, a big inspiration for this series was David Weber and his Honorverse series, right? And the Vorkosigan saga. And I lean more towards Bujold than Weber, right? I'm not as when I read the technical information in the Honorverse, I generally go, okay, so what is the technology supposed to do? Okay, so we're turning, we now have light attack craft, and we're turning dreadnoughts into aircraft carriers. Okay, fine. And then I move on. I don't read the 20 pages of a tech explanation that he's got. I skim it, right? Just enough that I understand it. But lots of people really like it, right? David Weber has a huge following in the Navy, the American Navy, for an example, because he is very good on all that technicality stuff, and he also researches naval history and is very spot on about that, right? So it tells me that I need to be more technically and procedurally aware, and that's cool. I don't mind that. I like doing that because, first of all, research is always fun, and secondly, it gives my story a sense of realism that otherwise magical flying ships in space that look like Treasure Planet would not have, right? It's a great way to ground it. So, all right. Elvin Shoe says, I saw no reviews yet. I'm going to buy and read all 6, then give review. By that time, there are 7. Yeah, probably. Do you also read books from other writers for research or just for fun? Yes, of course I do, actually. I think that most writers cannot help but be a little technical when they're reading other people's writing. Right, you can't enjoy a book if you know you would have done a better job. That sounds really arrogant, but it's a fact, right? Just like, I don't know, I'm sure you guys have all had that experience where you know a lot about something, right? And then you go to the movie, right? And you see them getting it totally wrong, and you're like, what the hell are you even doing? And then you just can't enjoy the rest of it, right? So writers are like that when they're reading, I think, a bit. you know. But on the other hand, I think we're also more enthusiastic about cool ideas because we recognize how difficult some things are. So in a way that I think most you know, just like I won't casual readers, right, non-writer readers, right, they don't know how hard something is to do. So when you see that done in somebody else's book, or you think this is a really cool idea, you're like, oh my god, and you just want to tell everybody, which is why World Anvil is so fun, because all these wonderful, brilliant, creative people, and I get to look at all their stuff and how clever they are, and I just love it. I just love it. So yeah, but yeah, I read it for research. You bet. I started reading Patrick O'Brien for research, right? Because I wanted to give a strong Age of Sail feel in the Toy Soldier Saga. I started watching more Western movies for research for the Weird West and looking up, you know, and reading stuff on Old West history, right? I went to Barkerville, which is it's a provincial and national park in Canada now, in British Columbia, and it's a preserved gold rush town where they have like gold panning still because there's still active claims up there, right? And they have reenactors explaining the history, and I went there for that. So I do a lot of research actually, and for me, experiencing it is infinitely better than reading it as a series of facts in a book and then trying to picture what that looks like. So yes, well done books that grasp what I'm trying to get across. I absolutely do for research. Well done novels. Yeah, and short stories. So Dazzlecat says both. Yep, absolutely. I do read just for fun. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think you have to read to be a writer because, you know, even if you're not currently reading because you're writing, you just have to like to read and, you know, read when you get the chance because otherwise, I don't think you understand how the craft feels. Like when you really enjoy a book, right? As a writer, you should go, what is it that I liked about this book? And then, you know, try to keep that in mind, right? So that's my opinion. Secondhand Samurai says, I like the novel twists in Weber, but I agree that his other series, Safehold, does get me a little bit lost in the weeds in later books. I have not yet started the Safehold series. I intend to. We own most of them. I just, I've got a list of things I've got to do first. So, but I will. I will check it out. And I've heard that from other people, secondhand. You're not alone. Yeah. Elvin Shoes says, Sandra Bullock, The Net, fun but so wrong. You know, I don't mind things being a little wrong, but when they go really wrong, then I find it very difficult to enjoy it, right? So, let's see. I have spent a lot of time dealing with the hospital and medical system at this point in my life. So I cannot enjoy anything like ER, these kind of, you know, soap operas. But House was pretty good. Totally inaccurate. Totally wrong. Right? Because you notice you'd always get these, like, I nearly died patients, and then the next time you'd see them, they'd be rolling out a wheelchair and looking pretty healthy. It's not how life works. Right? You get to ICU and there's a long recovery ahead of you regardless of what it is. So just FYI if you want to be realistic in your books. But yeah, but I can enjoy House because there's enough of the accurate information in there about, you know, politics and, you know, how hospitals work and, you know, the struggle of the patients and their families and stuff like that I can go, yeah, okay, you know. Aaron says never had it happen. Elvin Shoes says, my current biggest problem is that whatever I write, invent, or describe is something I've seen before, and then it feels like easy copy. Yeah, Elvin Shoes says, House was about the guy. Yes, House was about the characters, not the event. The event was a catalyst for the characters, which is why it's enjoyable. Right? Yeah, and if you've got strong character, that'll carry you through a lot of things. Right? Okay, so as to the copy thing, there is no such thing as an original idea. There are something like 6 great plots. They've all been written 1,000 times. Why? Because humans have a certain type of story that we respond to, right? We want to hear ultimately about ourselves. And what we want to do is imagine what we would do in a given situation, right? And hopefully we root for a character who's struggling with it that we've come to like, right? So really, uh, bad writers copy and good writers do it and file the serial numbers off, right? So you think about ways to adapt it to make it a little bit different, and that's all you really need to do, because there is no such thing as a completely original idea. So I think you're probably overthinking it. Also, there's no reason why you can't start by creating copies of the things that you personally enjoyed. A lot of people do that. I started that way. The Toy Soldier Saga started as fan fiction for the Spelljammer Dungeons & Dragons universe, and then I made it its own thing because it grew beyond the story they were telling in the role-playing game, right? So, like a lot of people do that. There are a lot of professional writers out there who've done that, and I don't think there's any shame in that. So if you want to do that, you do it, right? No matter what you do, your first novel's never going to be any good. It's never going to be good. You're either going to have to extensively edit it, which is what I'm doing, right? Or you're going to, have to write something else. And that's just it. And it's okay. You gotta take the baby steps, right? Walking Dead Lover says Hugh Laurie played him. Yes, absolutely, and he was amazing. DM Stretch is here. Hello, welcome. Yay! Sounds like the gang's here mostly anyway, except for the people who are like really tired, which I don't blame you. Yeah. Okay, so since there was a couple new people who joined in the chat, just a reminder that I'm giving priority to looking at birthday articles today. I have 358, as Aaron pointed out, articles that I have to read. Thank you. So, thank you for the hydrate. So I'm making sure that I get a chance, if I can. If you've got something you really want me to see, point it at me. But in the meantime, I'm going to talk about writing, and I'm going to work on my editing. So going back to my main screen here. Okay, so this is my article on the Black Arrows. So again, if you're not into spoilers about book 2, you want to put your fingers in your ears and go la 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 la, and maybe go see what Q is killing right now. Okay, so, and I am going to put in this, you see I have this allowed box here that I've reconfigured my allowed box. Right? Right now it says, this is not done, because I didn't feel comfortable just leaving it out. So, but, I'm going to have it say, this article is a big fat spoiler. Alright, now that I've said that. Okay, so this is where, when you're doing writing, right, you have to go back through and edit things yourself. So I'm going to kind of illustrate some of my editing process. Right? And maybe that'll help people, because sometimes people don't know, well, what should I do in an edit? Right? Okay, so I'm going to go back through this. I'm going to read it to myself. I'm going to see what I like, what I don't like. I'm not quite done inputting all the information I want to put, but, right? And then the next thing you do, which I'm going to combine, if you guys have, nothing specific you want me to do today, is I'm going to run things by you and see what you have to say about it and go, should I do this or that? And generally you do that with what you call your beta readers. They're a group of people who you get to look at it after you've done your edit, right? And potentially after you've done your editor's edit, and you get them to tell you what they think, right? And generally my policy is, if one person says it and I go and it's critical, I go, okay, thanks, right? Unless I totally immediately agree with it. But if I don't agree with it, I go, okay, thanks. If 2 people say it, I pay attention and I rethink the process, right? If 3 people say it, then it probably needs to be fixed and I'm wrong. That's sort of my general opinion on that one. Dinosaur Bob says, I'd like to have a brief chat with you regarding my world theology. Been rethinking the pool of souls a bit. Not now, but absolutely, I would love to have that chat with you. That would be very cool. I would enjoy that. You want me to do that on a stream with you, or do you want to do that privately over Discord? Either way, you know, I'm cool with it. Let me know. All right, so I'm actually gonna take a clue from, yeah, that's a little better, and I'll do it one more time. Yeah, I'm gonna take a clue from writer Greg, who's smart, and I'm going to blow this up in Zoom so that we're, you know, a Zoom level so people can see what I'm doing. DM Stretch says, oh, okay, phew. No, summer camp is done with. I better get back to writing my campaign at some point, or probably now, is what he meant. Now summer camp is done with. I better get back to writing my campaign at some point. Had a great idea, but brain can't get past the overall plot and first encounter. Okay, yeah, it was now. I hear ya. I hear ya. But then, see, that's something to chat with Aaron about on his stream on Tuesday, right? Because he can probably help you flesh out those ideas. Basically, you start with kind of, you know, what did you intend to accomplish with this world? What are some of the themes and important issues that matter to you, right? And then you kind of throw little seeds out there and you see what the players run with, right? And then when they have decided what they're running with, then you know where you're going, right? That's the difference between writing a novel and writing a campaign, right? A campaign is a co-created, co-authored event, right, in which one person establishes the theme and plot, and then the players write their characters in it. So either would probably be easier over Discord voice. Okay, get a hold of me and we'll make some arrangements as to when we both have time. Sounds great. All right, and yes, Aaron is confirming he's streaming at this time Tuesday. So anyway, here's my beginning here. The Permafrost Project is a secret project to infiltrate the Balorians, gather intel, and ultimately assassinate their leaders, Madrimlian explained. We believe that if we eventually cut off their military's head, the body will follow. But the Balorians are far from stupid, so we are teaching elves how to do everything exactly as Balorians do them. Our volunteers spend more time looking and acting like orcs than they do like elves until it becomes second nature. Shandar nodded his understanding, awestruck by the scope of it. Elves and orcs had been at war since almost the earliest histories of his people, whose typical lifespans, excepting attrition, were about a millennium. The loathing the two peoples felt for each other was so culturally ingrained it might as well have been instinctual. The swine would not expect dainty, effete, vain elves to deign to lower themselves to do such a thing. For the most part, they would be right. It was brilliant. So the question is, do I need that second paragraph to communicate what's going on? Or do I just need the first? Right? That's the first thing I'd like to run by people. Dan Stretch says, okay, I am around a mate's for dinner on Tuesday, but hopefully I'll get back in time. Yeah, fair enough. And if you don't, then he streams Fridays too. So yeah. Dazzlecat says, I only need the first unless the character in the second is key. The character in the second paragraph is the protagonist of the novels, and it is significant, but I'm not sure it's necessary for what I'm trying to describe here. I seem to be getting some weird errors here. I'm going to quit Discord, so if you're trying to get a hold of me on Discord, then sorry, because I'll look at it after the stream, because I apparently need to free up some memory. There we go. Right, so yeah, I'm not sure he's necessary to the article. Is this revealing too much of the character at this stage? The whole article needs to be made private when the summer camp judging is done, because the whole thing is a spoiler, right? So I have self-assigned groups, and one of those self-assigned groups is I have read the first book. If you have read the first book, this is not a big spoiler, right? So if you haven't, then it is. Dinosaur Bob says, I always shut down Discord and Google Drive Sync before streaming. It helps. Maybe that's what the problem is Google Drive Sync, eh? Some days I seem to have better luck than others. I don't see it running in the background, though. So, I don't know why I am having more of an issue today. Such a pain in my ass. Okay. So yeah, it really depends, right? It's a matter of personal preference. Basically, you're telling me you don't think it's necessary to communicate the meaning of the article or to grasp what is going on here. Right, Dazzlecat? That's what you're telling me? I don't need the second paragraph for that purpose? And Azelle tells me that Google Drive can be a pain if I've got low internet bandwidth, as it's always looking for changes, etc. We don't have low internet bandwidth. I think it has something to do with the memory capacity of the hardware of the computer itself, because we pay for some pretty shit hot high-speed internet, right? So we have streamers and gamers in this family, and we need it. So Dazzlecat says, unless why the orcs will be so completely duped is needed for the article. You know what? That's a very good point, and maybe I do. My orcs are very bright, right? I know that it's, like, a lot of people like dumb orcs. There are no dumb orcs in my universe. Yeah, Disc.io is the first bottleneck. Streaming is using Disc.io, yep. It's not a huge CPU hog, but it is a big memory hog. Okay. The instinctual thing of the rivalry. If you were coming new to my world, then you would probably need to know that. Hello, Delian. Burb, burb, burb. Burb is the word. Big memory hog is swap to drums disc. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Maybe, let's see here. Anyway, I'll have to mess around with it later because it doesn't tell me it's running in the background right now, and you know, I'm afraid to hit Control-Alt-Delete, which is the only other way I can find it right now, so I'm not going to, but... Alright. Okay. Yeah. Oh, she says, if something is using a lot of memory, the system will swap to disk, resulting in lots of I/O. Yeah. And I think that's what's going on, you know, but... At any rate... I don't know. As long as it's not going down for you guys, we're good, right? So... If you don't have solid-state drives, I don't, you suffer. You know, they only put the solid-state drives in the laptops, it seems, eh? Right? And the laptops never seem to have enough disk space and memory to run, you know, their crappy little webcams. I don't know. Alright, so... Yeah, Dazzlecat, you're right. I might need that in order to make it clear that this is a long-standing issue and that my orcs are bright people. So, I mean, I realize the stereotype is that they're stupid, right? But, ain't the case. Right, so the Black Arrows are a Special Forces Marines or Space Marines unit of the Avalonian Imperial Navy whose purpose is infiltration and insertion. Trained to live, think, and act like orcs, they operate in small units, infiltrate Fomorian encampments and military bases, and strategically assassinate Balorian leaders. Okay, just FYI, you'll find that out in other articles later, but Fomorians are a term generally used for goblinoids that, Dungeons and Dragons uses, right? And it comes from a Celtic legend about the people who fought the Tuatha De Danann, right? And Balorians are a particular ethnicity of orc who are currently in charge of the Fomorian Empire. All right, so it is twitching. I find myself wondering if it's doing its, if it's somehow reset to do its disk check nonsense thing that it was doing before. That is a pain. I mean, Aaron should have changed that for me, but... I'm building out a new system now, solid state for sure. Good idea. My mate has a solid state drive on his desktop, but he doesn't download anything to it, says DM Stretch. He keeps it as clear as possible so his computers run much faster. I probably just need to... No, I've got a defragment thing set up that should be doing... Maybe I just need to do a manual defragment, or maybe it's time to clear everything off the hard drive again. I hate those things that update, etc. Yeah, don't get me started on Windows' latest mandatory update with its mandatory you must look at our Microsoft Edge bullshit browser. It's almost enough to make me learn Linux, okay? Yeah. Disk check is I/O also, and when it needs to do that during startup, then the disk also has bad sectors. A solid state drive had no defragment needs, so it goes trim. Yeah, clean the browsers, etc. Yeah, I don't know. It shouldn't be running. It should have been shut down last time. Is this really bad and twitchy? Is this why we have a lot of, is this why the conversation in the chat is focused on the quality of the stream and whatnot? I appreciate the information, right? I'm just, double checking to make sure that it's not, horrible. It's not bad. Okay. Define not bad. I don't like that term. It's not horrible at all. Okay, cool. I'm just blabbing like a techie idiot. Oh, yeah, okay. Engineering. I got him started on something technical. Okay, fair enough. I get you. That's okay. And I appreciate the help. I really do. Right? Because this is not my strong suit. Right? So, that's great. Just so I know, says DM Stretch, or just so you know, a program called C Cleaner helps clean out all the crap you don't need. Your quality is fine. It's more than watchable. Duct tape applied. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's very helpful. I really do appreciate the help. Okay, I was just making sure that, there wasn't some emergency that people were trying to give me subtle signals was happening, and I was missing it, because I can be dense like that. Alright. So I think, based on what you said there, Dazzlecat, I'm going to keep it. And thank you, that's good to know. Alright, so, composition, manpower. Black Arrows are trained to operate in as little as 2 elf units, but they typically operate in 5 to 6 elf squads. There are only a couple of 100 elves who have made the requirements to join the Black Arrows, and attrition is high. Yes, because it's freaking dangerous. Okay? Equipment. And then I've got a quote from the book about, field gear. Right? And I want to know, do I need this, or can I cut it? Right? Or do you think it adds anything to the article to get a sense of what the typical field kit would look like? I mean, it's a bit overdone, and the military people are going to recognize that. But I do believe that when the Airborne Rangers first started operating, their equipment was like way overdone too, and they had to have like a heated conversation with command about we need to lose some of this shit. So, black studded leather armor, the full suit, including helmet, weighing about 20 pounds. 2 daggers, 2 short swords, a light crossbow and corals, a short spear and an axe slung across his back, totaling about 25 pounds. A full pack weighing around 100 pounds, including bedding, tarp, flint and steel, matches, mess kit and soap, spell book, magical components, and ink and quills, fish hooks and sewing gear, spare clothes, hammer, spade, rope, whetstone, grappling hook and climbing gear, healer's kit, spyglass, lockpicks, camouflage for urban, dark, and jungle environments, oil, alchemist fire, caltrops, manacles, 3 water skins, 7 days rations, boot knife, a couple of map cases and a regular and stellar compass, and uncomfortable hard leather Balorian combat boots. He also kept a spare pipe and some tobacco in his gear, which they were permitted to do if they wished to. It totaled out to about 150 pounds of equipment. When he first arrived on permafrost, Shandar would not have been able to carry that and move. Now he could carry it, but running was extremely unlikely. Right, so, and then expanded on here briefly, the Black Arrows are expected to function independently for extended periods. As a result, they often carry a variety of insertion and survival gear. As an elite unit, the Black Arrows can requisition the best possible equipment. It's not uncommon for research and development to offer their new toys to the Black Arrows before they offer them to anyone else. Your thoughts, guys? The weight of armor needs a bit of fixing. This is the stats according to the, I think it was Dungeons and Dragons book at the time. And armor's not quite as heavy as you think it is, maybe. Right? I don't know. But I could be wrong about that. Those rules are always stupid. And, you know, I don't know. I'll maybe I should ask for your thoughts about that. You know, how heavy should it be? Okay. I'll make a prose page on it, says Elvin Shoes, the tech conversation. DM Stretch says, no more case of a subject got started and we ran with it. That's cool. That's cool. I appreciate the help. I do. Enzel says, Elvin Shoes, PCs, paid my wages. I run the IT for a manufacturing company. So they're talking about building PCs and the details of that. Okay, so that's when Dazzlecat said the weight of the armor needs fixing. Huh, that's funny. Elvin Shoe says, when I was 4, I dropped dinky toys into the rain drainage pipe. Beautiful sound, bad for the cars. Yep. Then machine language duct tape reapplied. You don't have to apply duct tape to your mouth, man. You're fun. It's cool. And Azelle sharing some information. Anyhow, back to world building rather than PCs. In the quote, put the weight after armor and before mentioning helmet. Armor depends on what the soldier has as task. Because it came across as worded for helmet, not armor. Thank you. That is useful information to know. That is perfect to know. So, I think together weighing about 20 pounds. Does that sound about right? If I put the word together in front of weigh? Or do you think that the armor sounds like, okay, all right, perfect, we'll do that. Thank you for the help. This is different tab. There it is. And I'll have to remember to add that back. You know what? Why don't I open my manuscript and then I'll add it to my manuscript too? Be prepared for my computer to go for a minute. Okay. I have a lot of stuff in my Dropbox, so that could be part of my problem too. There it is. Okay, and watch the computer groan. Oven shoes. That sounds horrible for a computer. What do you feed it? Dazzlecat says, I think maybe instead of detailing the contents, mention how many packs it's in, other than the armor or things readily seen. Okay, fair enough. I get you. I will say that the scene that it comes from, I was trying to illustrate that a commanding officer was being a complete asshole, right? So I really wanted to give the reader the impression of, holy crap, look at all this stuff, you know? So... And besides, I actually thought it was kind of a good way to pull kind of a David Weber in that I could point out what they had on hand so that when the situation came up later, say they pull out the manacles to take a prisoner, the reader isn't going, where the fuck did those come from, right? They have the manacles. You know, I've already established the manacles exist in chapter 3, right? So... that was my thought on that one. Now, where was I here? I'm still in the training part, right? I'm just changing it on my Word document. I should probably switch the capture to my Word document so that you guys aren't just looking at me, looking into space here. Okay. So this is my Word document. Flint and steel is probably a good way to find that in my text because I don't have that often. Aha! There we are. So here I put the word together, weighing about 20 pounds. Thank you. That is helpful. I will leave that open. We will now go back to the other window, and that way if I... what did... yeah, okay. If we run into anything else, then I can just fix it. There we go. Yeah, phone typing stinks. I hear you. I cannot make it work right. I'm watching, you know, my kids are like, you know, conjuring demons or something, and I'm like, A, B, C, D, okay. Yeah, that word. Oh, fuck, it didn't get the right word. Scroll back. That word. Oh, it still didn't get the right word because it jumped. Yeah, that's me. So, it's okay. I'm getting better. Dazzlecat says, have the quote complain about having to haul everything, including the kitchen sink type of complaint. So the contents can be unknown, yet people will not be surprised when you decide to just add something. I hear ya. I don't agree with you on this one, Dazzlecat. I feel that it's important to get an impression of what is there, right? I understand you're trying to help me out in terms of brevity, and you have a point, right? But, you know, it's there for a reason in my novel. When we're critiquing the novel, right? Then by all means, if you still disagree with it, let me know, right? But right now, I'm working on the article. I think perhaps you're trying to tell me that it's too much information for the article itself then. Am I correct in that? Which you could well be right about. Like, that's one of the things that I thought might be the case. So I really could just take the whole quote out. There aren't, like, I already have a few quotes, as you can see here, so I don't have to have it. Would that be better to just lose it? I don't mind. It's not like I'm trying to make word count. Yes, I have a lot of stuff on this, yes, because... Okay, ditch it. Going. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, this is, like I said, this unit is very important to the plot of my second book. Everything centers on it. So I have lots of stuff. So yeah, no shortage of information. Thank you. Okay, I will do that. And hello, Darth Nicholas. Welcome. If you didn't get a chance to fully hear what we are doing, we are editing my article on the Black Arrows so I can, A, take advantage of your guys' expertise because, hey, why not? And second, so that I can kind of illustrate my editing process, right? So, alright, quote ditched. Let's refresh this page and see if that looks better. I think it probably will too. My stream's still creaking and groaning. It says it is, but alright. Yeah, that works. If I need to break that up, I can do it with a graphic. But there's no real need to, because that's all one section, right? Equipment. So now that just reads, the Black Arrows are expected to function independently for extended periods. As a result, they often carry a variety of insertion and survival gear. You know what else I should add there? I should add, some of this includes the standard military gear and uniform expected of the Fomorian they are representing themselves as, something like that. Include standard issue weaponry, equipment, and armor associated with the Fomorian group they are imitating. There. That sounds good? Okay, cool. I have so much to learn about editing, says Darth Nicholas. That's good. Well, hopefully we can help. Yeah, it's fun. It's its own fun, right? It can be really harsh when you send something to an editor and you get it back, right? Especially the first time this happens when you deal with a professional editor. I cried. I did. I felt like I had been torn apart. But the thing about your editor is that if they're doing their job, right? And I will tell you, another time I'll do an episode on Diane Wrights about how to look for a good editor for you. Because there are a lot of people out there who present themselves as editors, and what they are independent writers who are trying to make a side hustle, and they don't really understand the craft they're trying to do, right? Or they don't understand what they're there for. Right, in my opinion. So I will help you in picking out a good editor, right? But self-editing, this is what we're doing right now, self-editing and running things by beta readers, right? So if we learn from the process, that's great, right? It's lots of fun. Yeah, I have like 300 window tabs going, says Dazzlecat. No, this is actually very little for me today. I have 5. That's all. Of course, I could shut down my Humbleverse tab now, couldn't I? Yes, and the global dashboard for World Anvil. I probably don't need that either. But I am using this as a reference, so we'll stick with that. There, is that better? You've probably right. It's probably contributing. What are the plans for August now that the big event has ended, says Delian. That is a good question. I figure that... I should probably put this in my chat window, right? Okay, so I figure that I mean, like, I don't want to lose the momentum or the community. And that's a big thing that can happen after a big event like this. One thing I thought of doing to get the momentum going is to try to get a bunch of the writer Anvilites looking forward to NaNoWriMo and setting up group stuff for that, right? And we can do, like, group chats, and we can do, you know, collab streams, and maybe even sponsor a contest. I thought this might be something we could do, right? Delian is a mapper. He's a cartographer. That's what he does, which is awesome because I know absolutely fuck all about it. So, Inktober is coming up. Maybe that's something that the art streamer types could get organized on. And also, I thought all this month, I've got enough to keep me busy with looking at the articles that I've created and making them prettier, right? And making them write better, which is what I'm doing here today, right? So I figured that that's something that I could work on, or we could do cross streams, right? Like I could have you in a window on my stream, you could, you know, I could appear on your stream, whatever, right? And we could kind of help each other out with each other's articles, right? That's something that we could do. And of course, whenever, okay, those of us who are sponsoring contests in the Inner Sanctum are told that we have 2 weeks to decide whatever we're doing with however we're choosing our articles. That's why I'm like, get your birthday articles in front of me, hurry up, because I don't have a lot of time, right? So, so if you haven't done that yet and you want to, please do, right? But, and that will make sure that I see it, because I'm not sure I can read 358 articles in 2 weeks. I will do my best, right? But I thought that once the award ceremony had been done and the prize had been announced, I would perhaps do a couple of streams on WorldForge where I would take you guys through my short list and explain, you know, highlight some people, give them a chance to shine, show you why I thought this was a really good article, you know, and stuff like that. And it gives me a chance to celebrate other people's creative ideas. And of course, if you want me to critique an article, right, or do some, you know, editing work or whatever, and you want me to do it on stream, I've got channel points, booty points that do that, booty coins, right? And you can do that, and we will do that on stream, and that can be a lot of fun. I'm happy to do that. So, you know, lots of things we can do. Zog's talking about setting up interviews between the different members of the Corps and different Anvilites, and I thought that'd be a lot of fun. I would definitely be interested in doing that too, if anybody's interested in appearing on my show. I definitely want to keep up the community momentum, right? I don't want us to lose touch until the next big event shows up. You know, I want to hype the community challenges. Those are going to be fun, right? So I got lots of plans I'm doing. I hope that you're on board with me. So that will be cool. Yeah. Lord Galacrond is here. Hello, welcome. Cool, I'm here just in time. For me to yap? Cool. Delian says, cleaning up the mess, or, yeah, Dinosaur Bob says to Delian, cleaning up the mess we left. Yep, that's my plan. Jazzlecat's like, yeah, that sounds good. Darth Nicholas is all for that. Darth Nicholas has already agreed to do some collabing stuff for NaNoWriMo for, you know, so I'm looking forward to this. We're going to do some preparation streams. We're going to, you know, get the talk going about ways to organize for that. We're going to talk about, you know, the experience of writing. We're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be great. Other people have already signed on board for that are Danny Adventures, Siobhan the Writer, Chrysalia, right? Writer Greg said he would be doing stuff for Nano, but I don't know if he's intending to coordinate or not. I hope he does. That would be awesome, right? And, you know, I know there will be more, right? So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be good. If you can't read the tab names, you have too many open, says Dinosaur Bob. I usually can't read the tab names. I usually have to hover over the tab and let the tooltip tell me what it is. So, I'm actually, like, moderate today. Dazzlecat says, I need to outline before Nano. I am not good with outlining. So if you are outlining and you like to stream about that, or you would like, you think, you would like to share how your process works with that, I would love to have you on the show so that we can talk about that, because I am not the person to ask. I am absolutely shitful at it. I've found that I cannot do it, and every time that I have done it, I've been unable to write the novel. It's just not how my process works, right? There's two different ways to approach writing, right? There's the plotters and the pantsers, right? And the plotters have an outline, right? I took James Patterson's writing course at Masterclass when it was the only one that was there, right? And he is an outliner, and he's a plotter. He has the book written in the outline before he puts a word of the draft to paper, and he knows how it's all going to play out before he even gets there, right? And then you have Stephen King, who's a pantser, right? And in his writing books, he'll tell you that he never knows how the story's going to end until he's written the end, right? And he finds out as he goes. I'm more on this side, right? I'm much more of a pantser than a plotter, although I would call myself sort of a plantser, because what happens with me is I get these scenes in my head like bright lights, and I look at them kind of like a map, like, those treasure maps you made as a kid, right? So those places are the places that the book has to go. How you get there, I'm going to find out, right? So that's generally how I do things, right? So I'm not a good outliner, and I think that a lot of people benefit from outlines and respond much more effectively to that method of dealing with writing. And if you would like to share that, I'd love to have you do that, because, yeah, I cannot give advice on that one. Deland says, I'll also join in on the Nano Fun. Excellent. That's how I started in the World Anvil community, so I can't miss it. Me too. I bought myself, I've said this before a couple times now, but I bought myself a master membership as a present for achieving NaNoWriMo in a personal record time this fall, right? So, yeah. And yeah, I just, best money I ever spent. Let's just say that. And when she says, I bought Project Deimos, I have high hopes. I hope that it works out really well too. It looks amazing. If I had any interest in spending the amount of time that you guys have put on making these amazing, beautiful maps, then I would spend the money on it too. Aaron has considered it. He's a better cartographer than I am. He might invest in it. He's still kind of going, right? And it looks great. It looks really great. But I can only do so many things, and I'm already a writer, a world builder, a musician, an artist, and a bunch of other things. So I barely have time enough in my life as it is to become a cartographer too. And if I need anything really beautiful and fancy, I'm going to have to pay somebody. And that's okay. So. Gift of Gabby says, question, how do you write when your brain is tired? I really want to write, but brain isn't working. Sometimes I can't. Let's just start with that. Sometimes my brain is so dead that it will just not do it. And that's when I go, okay, I clearly need to sleep, and I go to bed. I get into what I call like a nah thing. Okay, I'm rarely bored, right? It's hard for me to be bored. I always have something that I'm doing. So if I am bored, then that usually means that I'm exhausted and I need to sleep, right? Other methods include various stimulant drugs, including caffeine, nicotine, and a variety of other things that people have done through history in order to keep their brains awake. There is a reason why writers drink a lot of coffee, and why traditionally they have smoked a lot. That's why, because it wakes up your brain. I do not recommend this method, but it is an option. Notice my coffee addiction, right? So, let's see what else can be done. Sometimes I find that like a Coke or an energy drink can get things rolling. Sometimes I find that unplugging can be helpful. Like sometimes you've thought about it so much that you've just kind of run into a wall. You need to give your brain an opportunity to generate ideas, and ideas grow in places where you feel relaxed and comfortable, right? So maybe stop writing for a bit, maybe go take a walk, or read a book that you like, right? Watch stupid movies or something, if that gives you pleasure and relaxes you, that can be helpful, right? Unorthodox method, you can also, there is something called brainwave entrainment, music and technology that kind of makes your brainwaves do, it helps your brainwaves to do, I won't say it makes certain things, right? It's usually that got like weird vibratory sounds in the background when you hear music or whatever, and I find the noises themselves just irritating, so I find ones that have like really good background music, or it's encoded in the music itself, right? Or nature sounds, right? And I put that on, right? And the ones you're looking for are stuff with beta and theta waves, right? Because beta waves help your mind be alert, communicating, thinking, and memory, right? And theta waves are where imagination and deep dreaming take place. But do be aware that if you're at all tired, you might fall asleep if you're listening to theta wave music, because it's very relaxing. Just saying. Delian says, I shall look through sheep entrails and pick a winner. Yeah, I know, right? I'm gonna try to read them all, but I make no promises, right? I'm gonna do my best. Aha! Darth Nicholas has put up their birthday article. Aaron did read it a couple days ago and helped you clean up a couple spots. Good stuff. Let's get on it. Elvin Shoe says, I am here to stay. I am glad you are. That's awesome. And that's great. You're glad you're here. Lord Galacron says, sure. Here's a warning about Inktober. Okay. I will look at that in just a second. Dazzlecat says, baby steps, Gabby. I usually reread something related to what I want to work on if I don't have anything started. Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. If I get stuck on the Toy Soldier Saga, generally the best thing I can do is open up once again one of the Patrick O'Brien, Aubrey Maturin series, which, if you guys have seen the movie Master and Commander, that's where it came from. It's that series, right? Or I read an Honorverse book or a Vorkosigan Saga book, depending on what I'm writing, and then that helps me, right? If I'm struggling with the Weird West, I read Louis L'Amour, or I watch some Western I haven't seen before, right? Occasionally, if I'm struggling with, I feel like I'm stuck in a military element, I'll watch old war documentaries and movies and things. I found Band of Brothers to be really inspirational, for example, so... All right. I see. Walking Dead Lover says, basically, you're not allowed to make money off of it unless you want the original creator of it to have his lawyers contact you. So Inktober you're talking about there, right? Yeah, okay. Well, then, we Twitch affiliates probably should avoid streaming about Inktober, and isn't it unfortunate that he's not going to get any of our advertising that way? Okay. Elvin Shoe says, what is the relationship between NaNoWriMo and World Anvil? They are entirely separate entities, except that World Anvil is one of the sponsors for NaNoWriMo this year, right? NaNoWriMo... I am sitting on my cord again. 1 minute. Okay. NaNoWriMo is a non-profit group that started like, I don't know, several years ago now. I think something like 20 years ago, maybe a little more than that. And basically it was a guy named Beatty. I don't remember what his first name is, but his last name is Beatty. Had this idea that he wanted to write the novel that he'd always wanted to write. And he had like a month off, and he's like, okay, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna write it. I'm gonna get this novel done in a month, right? And he figured out that it takes 1,667 words a day written to get to a 50,000 word novel. And he thought, all right, let's do it, right? And then he got a bunch of friends involved, and they got a bunch of friends involved, and then they realized, hey, this is like becoming a thing, kind of like what happened with World Anvil, right? And they went, you know, maybe other people want to do this, so they registered as a nonprofit, and they started reaching out to educators, and now it's this huge thing that goes on all over the world, where I think there was something like 500,000 participants last year, right? And every continent except Antarctica, and people do their best to write a 50,000 word novel in a month. And there are lesser events like April and July are Camp NaNoWriMo, right? So you set your own goals at that time. It doesn't have to be 50,000 words. And there are all kinds of resources provided for supporting the effort of writing that 50,000 words. And it's because it becomes a very community kind of oriented event where other people are trying to do the same thing you're doing and are working really hard at it like you, and you're all trying to support each other, just like what happened with summer camp, right? Just how summer camp works, except it's for writers. I don't think their community is as tight-knit as the World Anvil community. It's still pretty awesome though, right? But I think that their resources are better because they are tried and true and they've been around longer. Do they have anything to do with each other officially? No. World Anvil decided to be a corporate sponsor for NaNoWriMo this year, and they have like a 50% off Sage membership if you finished your goal for Camp Nano. I can only imagine what kind of awesomeness they're going to have for NaNoWriMo in November. If you've been thinking about it, that is a hell of a savings and well worth inspiring you to finish the event, right? Most of the sponsors of Nano offer like a 20% off discount, and World Anvil offers that for every Nano participant, or did for Camp NaNoWriMo anyway. I assume it'll be something similar for November as well, right? And which is the main event. That's where the 50,000 word novel is done. And it, I mean, that's cool. That's really cool. But it's kind of a promotional deal, right? You're offering people a bit of a discount, and hopefully they stick around, right? I can only imagine that in their infinite generosity, Janet and Dimitri are really trying to cut people a break on that 50% off Sage membership, because that is a huge savings, and none of the other sponsors that I've seen are doing anything remotely like that. And like, I think they said to themselves, well, if they finish, then clearly they're dedicated professionals and we should cut them a break so they can get started. So yeah, it's huge generosity, just what I'm coming to expect of them. So okay. Do pinned tabs count? I don't know if they do. Point crawl, says Secondhand Samurai. That's one of the methods that NaNoWriMo has as ways of encouraging you to write. And it's pretty cool. I respond better to things like the group sprints. I really enjoyed the Twitter event where it was the Nano House Cup is what they called it, but I don't know if we're going to be doing it this year after all the stuff that erupted about J.K. Rowling. The person who runs it is LGBTQ herself, so I'm really not sure. And it would be, but it was so fun, right? You pick your Hogwarts house, right? And then you do word sprints and you add up all the points for the different people representing the different houses. And you compete for like bragging rights and pretty badges on Twitter, right? And it's so much fun. It's so much fun. And I always do Gryffindor because that's what all the quizzes say that I am when I do stuff. It says, yeah, you might have been Ravenclaw, but you're a Gryffindor. So me and Hermione, right? So, and we're always underdogs because nobody ever plays the Gryffindors because they're not cool because they were the protagonists, right? So everyone always does the other houses. The Slytherins always outnumber everybody else, right? The Ravenclaws typically kick everybody's butt, right? But this year, the Gryffindors did it. So, okay. Have I considered writing the key scenes I think of on a note card and then rearranging the cards as your writing changes? Yes, and all that does is confuse me. I have tried that. It's just not the way my process works. It's really okay if my process looks nothing like yours, right? You know, everybody's got their own way of handling it. I just really cannot. I tried this because I was having difficulty figuring out where to go in the current Toy Soldier novel. It's one of the reasons why it took so long to get done. The solution turned out to be to turn it into 2 novels. So now instead of a plan for 4 books, maybe a 5th, there's a plan for 5 books, maybe a 6th. Me and George R. R. Martin, right? Yes, I have tried that. It's just not the way my brain works. So, what does help me though is making notes about it in a scribble notebook, which I have occasionally done, and then I can flip back to it and look at it later, right? So I've done that, and that is effective for me. Dan says, I can't wait for Project Deus. Really looking forward to it. It looks great. Elvin Shoe says, I'd check your officially announced information, but do keep your eye on official announcements. Elvin Shoe says, yeah, I did see a few announcements, that's why I asked. Oh, good, we have another birthday article. Excellent. We'll get to those right away here as soon as we're done catching up with chat. Elvin Shoe says, I love to watch Pokemon episodes to take my minds off of thinking problems. Yeah, exactly. Whatever helps you to unplug, you know, can sometimes be helpful. Delian says, Viney, nature sounds. I open the window. There's a very noisy owl nearby. We had that happen too, and now there's something in the middle of the night that Aaron says is a bat, and Jamie says there's no way in hell it's a bat. And I'm like, I don't know, but it makes this noise, like, and loud, right? Like, I've been around bats before, but that's a big bat, you know? So I don't know what it is, and since then we haven't heard any owls. So I'm not sure if one drove the other away or what. DM Stretch says, one thing I used to do for inspiration is just lay down on a bed or sofa and listen to a Nightwish album, especially their Century Child one. I love Nightwish. They're awesome. In any incarnation. And Tarja on her own is awesome too. Yeah, that's another thing. And I thank you for bringing it up, right? Sometimes I put together novel soundtracks. This is one Dazzlecat that I find basically serves the same purpose as laying out the note papers, right? But for me, I'll do I'll put together a novel soundtrack, and I try to picture, like, what if somebody were making an opera about my plot? How would it unfold? And then I pick songs that I associate with that particular event that's significant, and that changes as I change the writing. So I guess I sort of do that. I just do it with music rather than visual notes. So okay, that's fair, right? And I find that's really helpful when you're looking for inspiration. You're like, okay, you know, now what do I do? Or sometimes I put on mood music. Like, I like to listen to the Mass Effect soundtracks and the Ender's Game soundtrack when I'm writing Toy Soldier, and I listen to that Weird West music that you guys hear, like the Western music from the Fighters, Brandon and Derek, I believe it is, right, when I stream Weird West stuff, right, and for inspiration. I also have a collection I put together called Epic Steampunk Weird West Music or something like that on YouTube, and I listen to that. It includes a lot of Americana and dark country and you know, spaghetti Western music and stuff like that. I put Gangsta Grass on it in a couple of places. Yeah. What, no Zane Grey? Yeah, Zane Grey too, you bet. I was just pulling one of the authors out of my butt. There's like some modern writers I like too, not McCarthy, but I'm not really a fan of McCarthy. Does some really good stuff. I don't know, not coming to me right now. I'll look it up. I'll tell you guys next stream. Yeah, Zane Grey's cool. I read Zane Grey. You bet. If I open a window, I hear a pack of dogs and a hysterical bunch of humans trying to keep them silent. So yeah, nature. No, so no, sleepy waves. Yeah. Walking Dead kindly highlighted this so we would not miss it. In other words, the word Inktober is now copyrighted by him. He told nobody about doing this, so entire stores have been yanked down because of it. Okay, and then Secondhand is discussing the issue, right? Says that's a bit overblown, is it not? Isn't it just Inktober merch that's not to be sold? Because people started selling merch with the Inktober branding. Yeah, good question. I don't know. We will definitely have to look into this more. I should go back and look at your link, which I will do after I look at the 2 birthday articles. Delian says the Nano community on World Anvil is pretty great. Cool. I've not yet had the experience. Like I said, it arrived at the end of NaNoWriMo. So, awesome. Right? We do sprints, and there has traditionally been a NaNoWriMo channel on the Discord, and it is still there, and I meant to be in it this month, and I did not go into it because I had other things I had to do. Elvin Shoes says World Anvil is an awesome organization. Cannot agree more. Yep. And the community is awesome too. Walking Dead Lover says books, t-shirts, mouse pads, etc. that were sold on Amazon were taken down because they had the word Inktober in their title. And then other people who have created their stores, like a Redbubble, etc., have had their stuff taken down and gotten a very scary letter threatening lawsuit. Fair enough. Now, watching here is helping me to become a better writer, but not helping me write. Not today. Not today, because today we're going to, unpack things. Or is that in general, Elvin Shoes? Because sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm going to do writing sprints, and then I get distracted by chat, right? Because people have questions and commentary, and I like chatting with other writers too. So it's not a bad thing. Okay, good. Walking Dead Lover says, that's what I was trying to say about Inktober. You cannot make money off of it without it backfiring on you. Yeah, fair enough. Oh, Lord Galacron says, Kazazan? Whoops, I failed. Okay. I have no idea how to use the chat stuff. New Twitch account. Who this? Who this? Yeah, okay, fair enough. Galacron is learning about chat stuff at the moment. It feels weird teaching my teenager about Twitch. Oh, well, hello. Nice to meet you. It's good to know that you're the famous son that Darth Nicholas has spoken about, which is cool. And congratulations on doing summer camp, by the way. Excellent. Good work. Better safe than sorry about Inktober. Well, I'm not going to be doing Inktober myself, and I appreciate the warning, Walking Dead Lover, and I will encourage people to look at the link that she sent so that people have the informed, the information, and then I will trust the art streamers to make their own decisions about what they're doing about Inktober, and thank you for the warning. That's great. I appreciate it. I'm not going to be streaming it myself, right? I might talk to people about their experience in it, but it's not going to be a focus, right? During Inktober, I will be doing Preptober, where I will be working on Nano. Oh, thank you very much for the congrats. Much appreciated. That's awesome there, Lord Galacron. Okay, what are you trying to name? Tell me about it. You used your name generator. Kazazan. What am I naming Kazazan? Walking Dead Lover says, same, gonna prep for that 50K. Yes, we need to lay it out. I do preparation, Dazzlecat. I'm not a complete, fly on the seat of my pants. Probably what I'm going to be doing is making sure that certain articles that I need as reference for myself as a series Bible on World Anvil, which is one of the purposes I'm using it for, right? That they're ready to go so that I can reference important things. Like one thing I'm definitely going to make sure I have done by November this year is I am going to have a fucking timeline done. It's going to be done. That's it. right? Because, and that's a shout out to Artie too. Artie made me a cool thing. It is a calendar converter. I meant to show this on stream before. I've not done it yet. We will do it hopefully after the birthday articles. Okay. A character. Kazazan. I like that. That's a great name. Okay, duly noted. Do you have any specifications? A name like Kazazan would work very well for a couple of cultures in my Toy Soldier universe. One would be there's sort of a pseudo Arabic inspired culture that I'm drawing from a couple of different sources from. It's like because I don't want it to be like I don't know. I don't there it's problematic when you make things too close to another culture and you don't think about it in the fantasy world, right? And then it would also be good for an orc. So let me know. Do what I want with it? Okay. An undercover name for Black Arrow says Dazzlecat. That's a cool idea. That's a very cool idea. I very well might do that, actually. There's at least one who needs that very important supporting character. Okay. I like it. That's cool. All right, let's do some birthday articles. We're gonna do two. Where are they? That was the one. I think there were. Just making sure I'm not too far back. You know, my problem is my Moobot confuses me because I go, oh, purple, it's a link. Oh. Moobot posted that. Stupid Moobot. Okay. I think I read this one, actually, Darth Nicholas, but I will definitely check it out here. Aha, yes. See, this is what I'm doing for myself. I'm liking everybody's article, their birthday article, for effort. If it says that I have liked it, I have read it. And that is my way of noticing that I have done that. But you will notice that I thought it was cool because it is in my sidebar list here. Right there. 25th Divergence Anniversary. Let's go over quickly anyway, because it's cool. For an Ashidian child, the 25th anniversary of the Divergence is especially important and is often the only birthday celebrated in their lifetime. On the day of this anniversary, they grow their skeleton and become a fully physical being, as well as see the emergence of their secondary facet. At this age, many Ashidians also choose whether they will refer to as male or female, though some see little point in declaring a gender as they are a single-sex species. Their skeletons take form at the exact moment they diverge from their parent 25 years earlier. The experience lasts only a few minutes, but is extremely painful as the children feels. I would say either it's a wrong tense there. Either the child feels or the children feel sensations they've never experienced before, such as physical touch, hearing, smell, and seeing the physical world. Once their skeleton has grown, they are capable of feeding on their own and no longer require soul energy to be transferred from a parent. And I'm like, what a fascinating creature. This is a non-physical being, right? And it feeds on soul energy. How do they get soul energy? What is this universe? Is this fantasy? Or these aliens? This is amazing. Okay, I'm very interested in your species. Prior to this birthday, the child is naturally able to perform slight aether manipulations, or ether manipulations, depending on how you prefer to pronounce that, but until after their first adult feeding, their secondary facet does not manifest. And I don't know what's meant by a facet, and I'm curious. I hope you will have a link to Ashidian in this article so that I can look them up and find out what is meant by that. Or a link to facet as an article at some point. Until after the first adult feeding, their secondary facet does not manifest. After their meal, the secondary facet of one of their parents will begin to emerge. Participant. Divergence anniversaries are considered a private affair. See, and here's the cultural part, which is cool. With only the closest family members in attendance. Several large animals are brought to siphon soul energy from as the family waits for the moment of divergence. When the moment draws close, the child is guided into a circle with one or both parents. It is their job to support them and keep them upright as they adjust to the torrent of new sensations. After the child recovers, a sacrifice is presented to sate the desperate hunger felt after the change. The child feeds on the soul and is supported by their parents as their new facet energy fills their bodies. After the child is recovered from the experience, the family enjoys a soul feast from the animals before parting ways. So that's good to know too, that you can get soul energy from animals and do not require it from sentient beings. That is really neat, right? I thought this was very original. It definitely stood out because it's nothing like anything else that I've seen so far, and that's pretty cool. So, way to go. And now we're going to look at Lord Galakron's entry. I have not seen Lord Galakron's world yet. Oh, cool. Alright, so we have like creepy Eldritch horror. That's great. Zephyrog is the world. Umbra Drak Awakening. Birthday. Location, the Wild Wood. Large beasts of wood and moss come before another. They stand surrounding him, bestowing him food, water, and other essential foods. He stands tall, burned and charred lines across his bark-like skin. He goes to the Paragon of the Den. Do we have a tooltip for this? We do not have a tooltip for this. We will look at this briefly. What is the Paragon of the Den? And why is the tooltip not coming up? That's what I want to know. Okay, so they divide themselves into dens, and each den has someone who's in charge of what the den does. Okay, the den leader. That's what I need to know right now. So, he goes to the Paragon of the Den, looks down, kneels, and then stands, being gifted a staff. The staff has great meaning to the asleep. The Paragon of the Den then tells of a story that has sacred meaning to them. The idea is really interesting so far, and I find myself questioning, okay, large beasts of wood and moss. That's what an Umbra Drak is? That sounds really cool, right? I would like to know more about them. I hope you are writing an article about them as a species later on. And otherwise, I'll tell you there's some grammar work that needs to be done. I'm not going to get into correcting your grammar on stream right now because that's not what we're here for. We're here to look at other people's ideas, right? But you may want Dad to give you an editing pass here. All right. History. This tradition has been dated back since the Umbra Drak has been living. Should be has and not had, by the way. Every 100 years, they celebrate the growing of one and send them out to experience the true powers of the Wild Wood. I suppose I should check if the Wild Wood is too, shouldn't I? Let's do that. I'm not going in there. Don't you know what's in there? This is insane. I can't believe I have to go in this. The errand boy. That's actually really cool. That's good. Okay, because it's creepy with the Umbra Drak. It's the forest, so they're like bound to the forest almost, the Wild Wood. Okay, that's cool. They keep this tradition very guarded because of the powers of the wood can grant more than just lunar magics. It can grant much more. I'd like to know more about lunar magics too. I hope that's going to end up being a different article. Execution. The birthday begins with the nightly forest awakening the Umbra Drak before anyone else in the colony. Okay. The nightly forest awakes the Umbra Drak first. The birthday Umbra Drak. It calls the name of the awakened over and over throughout the day. Quote-unquote day. So now I know that the Wild Wood is always dark. Neat. Throughout the early night, the awakened will start to get symbols and tattoos over their body that symbolize their personality. That's interesting. The powers that surround the asleep or unawakened Drak will slowly infuse them via personality symbols and tattoos. So magical tattoos suddenly appear. Neat. Components and tools. The Paragon of the Den will bestow a gift to the asleep. The gift will be of value to both and will help in the rite of passage. The asleep will leave something to remember them by as an anchor to guide through the forest. Other tools are minor, food, a totem, bedding stuff, clothes for a day or two, and a small den pet to help them. These will all be given by others of the den. So now I know they wear clothes, they have totems, they require food, right? And they have bedding stuff, right? Which I knew none of prior to this because I'm not sure what they are and why they creep people out. So that's very interesting. I got the impression up here that they were trees. So that's interesting. Why would they need clothes? I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just intrigued, and I'm saying these are the questions that the article brings up. It's actually very interesting. Really original idea. I like it. Participants. All in the den come together to celebrate the awakening of an asleep. The asleep will keep the remaining routine of their day, but at dusk the asleep stands in the center of their den, and the gifts are bestowed before the asleep heads off into the wood. The rite happens when, or observance. The rite happens when the Umbra Drac comes to 100 years of age. The eldest awakened, that is more connected to the forest, can perceive what is happening to the asleep in very small glimpses or small details of the process. That is really interesting. Really, really cool. I like the idea. I am very intrigued to know more about your Umbra Drac. Do you have an article for that on your world? I'm going to check now. Catching up to chat here too. Darth Nicholas says, it's a fantasy horror setting. I'm working on the Soul Siphon and especially the Ishidian article right now. Still trying to figure out what template to use. The facets are like magic schools, basically. That's interesting. I would use technology. That seems to me to be the best. I think I would use technology. Let me double check that in a minute here. Tooltip. So by tooltip, what is meant is that sometimes if you like hover over the links, it'll show you a thing which will appear when you do the mouse over, right? And that's what they call a tooltip, right? And sometimes you can add your own tooltip if you can use BB code in your I don't know if you're obviously not a freeman because you're using the themes, right? So with your guild membership, you have the right to put tooltip in a square bracket, and at the end of the whatever you're putting that should be seen, you put /tooltip, right? And then there's a thing on the article, if you open the advanced tools and you check the list of World Anvil tag information, it will tell you how you can decide what appears in that and what, you know, how that works, like in more detail. But yeah, you can add that yourself. Or sometimes what should be happening, right? Let me see if it happens on mine. Okay, that doesn't work because that article doesn't exist yet. So maybe your article doesn't exist yet, but when the article exists, this excerpt will appear, right? The Avalonian Imperial Navy protects the remnants of the Avalonian Empire, and while powerful, it is a shadow of what it once was, right? So if you, that way you know something about that deal. Do I have anything else here? Yes. Okay, so I know I have an article for Captain Lilas Madrimlian. And this is a bigger one where it shows you part of the article. And what that means is that I have yet to take the excerpt out of the other link, right? But it'll show you some stuff here. This here, Quiet Unassuming Elf, is a tooltip that I used. And notice how it says here, or so they think, right? It was just my little subtle humor thing while I was illustrating how tooltips worked. So, okay. DM Stretch says, I have just sent the creator of Inktober the following email using their contact form. Hello, I've just read your article about money making during Inktober, etc. I understand entirely and would like to ask you, out of respect, how would you feel about streaming Inktober writing on Twitch, please? I have just taken part in the World Anvil summer camp event, and a load of us set up a streaming group, roughly 30 of us. We were streaming writing sprints during the event. Would this be allowed, and what would be the rules on this, please? Well, it's like drawing, creating art, but that's cool. Great. Thanks for taking the initiative, and I hope that we get a positive response. Let us know if we do. That's what we're all about here, guys, right? Is volunteer effort. So that's great. Lord Galacron says, yes, I'm working on the article as we speak. Darth Nicholas says, we're homeschooling this year, and I'm going to include World Anvil in this English class. Good idea. What a great way to inspire English. And good for you for homeschooling. I think that is absolutely the totally right decision in the time of COVID. They're talking about bringing people back to school in British Columbia, where our cases are much less than they are in most places in the United States, and I still would be thinking about homeschooling this year if my kids were still at home. So, good job, Dad. And good job for being understanding about that, Lord Galacron. That's, that's really cool of you. The planet is always dark. That is awesome. Creepy. Yes, this is a great idea. Noticing some minor edits you need to do. Yep. Fair enough. Here's the article. The Umbra species. Okay. So my suggestion to you is link the article in the page, right? And I think that Darth Nicholas can probably show you. Well, you've done this, right? With the Paragon of the Den, where you put the @ sign and created the article. If you put the @ sign and create the article for, if you put the @ sign and type in the first 3 letters, so UMB, right? It should give you a list with it, whatever's got Umbra or UMB in it, and one of the articles you can link to should be Umbradrac, and then you can have the direct link here, and it will do what the link to my article on Captain Lilas Madrimlian did in the other one. So here's our Umbradrac. Creature's been here 900 years before the Calamity. Probably the first generation of them watching the Calamity, but they didn't stop it. They have a neutral way of looking at everything. The only thing they strongly look forward to is the Awakening. Barky moss-like skin, 2 arms, legs, hands, feet. They have large 4 to 6 foot tails in the shape of a slim leaf. Neat. Their eyes vary from 2 to 4 eyes, like the Borshar tribe of the Ursalian. Neat. No one knows what the inside of one is because of their aging. They've never died of old age, for people know of. That's fascinating. So they might be sort of trees, but maybe not. And they have changes of color and leaves with the seasons, so that's fascinating. So basically they're Ents, or yeah, more or less, except they're not like these humanoid Ents, maybe, which is really kind of neat. Okay, alright, that's what I needed to know. That is pretty cool. There's another question I had here, but now I forget what it was. Anyway, I think that's pretty cool too. Alright, yeah, I was wondering about the Calamity, but I assume it's some apocalyptic thing by which the whole planet became dark. I could fall down a rabbit hole in your world. That's amazing, because that's well done. You want to keep people on your pages? I will probably do it for hours. DM Stretch says, yeah, not sure why I said writing for Inktober. I blame World Anvil writing on the brain, no doubt. And we were talking all about NaNoWriMo right before we started talking about that, which is hilarious. Anyway, I have to go now, so thanks for another great stream. See you later. Oh, well, glad you dropped in, and that's great. DM Stretch says, I may have to cancel my stream tomorrow. Aww. Not sure yet. Have adulting stuff to do. If anyone wants to take my spot, then let me know via Discord. Same name there. Night, everyone. Okay, do you want someone to? I will search for you if you like. I'll put it out there that you're looking for someone to cover. Yep, and thank you, DM Stretch, for being here. Lord Galacron says, I got the look from a Pinterest pin and also from a lizard species called the Satanic Leaf Lizard. There's a okay, now I gotta see that. I'm looking that up right the hell now, because what a neat thing. Okay. Satanic Leaf Lizard. This is a thing. Oh my god, that is amazing. I must see this. What does this look like? Images. Oh, I totally see why. That has got to be one of the coolest creatures I've ever seen. Oh, that's so neat. And we have a satanic leaf-tailed gecko as well. Oh my god. Or are they the same thing? And they got different kinds of leaves looking like. How the hell does that happen, you gotta wonder, eh? Ah. Now you see, this little dude I've seen before. With flying fox wings. It's a dragon! A bunch of pictures of these were going around a few years ago. I'm like, is that real? That is so neat. I want one now. I bet they make terrible pets, though. Look at all these different varieties. I mean, you know, that guy, I've never even seen leaves that look like that. It looks like he must be a tropical dude. Right? And then we've got this, which looks like, I mean, is that like, oh, that's its tail, and that's the leaves it's with. So I've seen these type of leaves, like, that's so neat. That's not a very big picture, I can't see anything. Look at this. This is like an oak leaf kind of deal, right? And then this guy here has like a different type of oak leaf, and this dude here looks like a bunch of seed pods that lie around in trees in my area. That is so cool. What a neat thing. Okay, Satanic Leaf-Tailed Lizard. I am looking this up more some other time. Thank you for sharing that with me. That is so cool. Everybody's laughing. Yeah. Lord Galacron says, I want 20 of them. Small dragon, says Delian. Alder. Yeah, alder. That's the one. Looks like alder seeds. Thank you, Siobhan, for reminding me. Yeah, I know. That's so neat. Yeah, I want 1 million of them too. They're adorable. Small dragons. I want all the dragons. I love dragons. I've always loved dragons. They used to call me the dragon lady in school because I like dragons. So it's addictive. I have like my little pet dude right here. He's a little dusty, but I'll show him to you. Because why not? And his little treasure there. Those are actually rings that kind of look like, you know, buried treasure, so, yeah. It's my desk talisman there. I don't know why, but his name is Yolan. Imagination. Oh yeah, and then there's like my white dragon dude. See, this is stuff I surround my desk with, right? Hello, Songbird, welcome. Siobhan says, gimme, 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 dragons are cool. I know, right? We need all the dragons. An author goddess is here. Hello, nice to see you. We're talking about, we're unpacking World Anvil Summer Camp and Camp Nano, and when we have nothing that has a bigger priority, like me looking at the birthday articles and, you know, checking them out for the purposes of possibly, like, because I'm judging the contest on them and offering the prize. I'm sponsoring that contest, so I want to make sure I have a chance to look at them. When we're not doing that, we're talking about editing, and I'm getting people to, you know, help me go through my article that I'm working on cleaning up after summer camp. So about 4 hours. At about the same, I made myself get up because I didn't want to miss Artie's first stream. So, all right. So the whole bunch of other people have arrived, which is awesome. Author Goddess is here. Siobhan didn't say hi when she showed up, but she started talking. So hi, Siobhan. Danny Adventures is here. Yay! I gotta get going on writing, says Author Goddess. I might be convinced to do some streaming, so you should join me for my project, which we are going to, I was going to focus around the World Anvil streamers, but we're doing Camp Nano, right? We're doing Nano, we're planning for NaNoWriMo, we're going to do some NaNoWriMo specific streams, we're going to do some writing stuff. You should do some streaming, because you're fun, and I would watch those. So, Author Goddess is Sarah Berman. She is the author of the Rune Spell series and a variety of other short stories and novellas that have been published in various anthologies and magazines, right? I should show you her page, right? And she is one of my writer buddies. Well, we became friends through writing. We're still friends regardless of whether or not they're writing, but I am a big fan of her Rune Spell series, which is urban fantasy and Norse mythology, which is freaking cool. So, first I'll show you her Amazon page. Right here. There you go. So there's some of the stuff she's done, just to give you an idea. She's pretty prolific. We were in this anthology together, Chasing Fireflies. It's where one of the Toy Soldier Saga stories was published. And mostly I haven't been in the other anthologies because we're kind of taking slightly different pursuits, like different paths in our career pursuits. So, and her website, which I should also show you, is authorgoddess.com, actually. Oh, go ahead and check it out yourself. authorgoddess.com. It's cool. So, anyway, so yeah, we go together like Rama Lama Lama. Yes, we do. Yeah, it's cool. We have a lot in common. You know, she's got a warped sense of humor that I really appreciate and admire. She's a lot of fun. So, if she wants to stream about writing, I would definitely recommend her streams. She does a YouTube program. I'm so bad. The name of it is slipping my head. Practically Writing. That's what it's called. It's Practically Writing on her channel, and she talks about different things about writing. And it's very educational if you're looking into getting into writing. So definitely check that out. You can search it on YouTube under Practically Writing, and it will show up on screen. Oh, you sort of lurked in Artie's stream. That's fair enough. Elven Shoes. I am Elven Shoes. Oh, we go together like Rama Lama Lama, Author Goddess, and Elven Shoes. Fair enough. I come in pairs too. Yeah. Cool. Alright. I like to communicate solely in memes and GIFs. Yes, that is because she is an introvert. But she's funny. And she's clever, and I like her writing. Like, she does good work, right? So, and I'm not just saying that because she's my friend. Like I said, we met through writing. So, I think that I'm going to take a quick break, if that's okay with you guys. You know, I've been hydrating, so I gotta run and go do the bio break thing. I'll be back in a couple of seconds, hopefully. I communicate in gibberish, says Elven Shoes. Well, yes, you're an engineer. You do communicate in gibberish. We love you, but you do. Right, so I'll be back in just a few minutes, and don't go away, anybody, because let me know. Oh, hey, thanks for the gift sub there, Elven Shoes. That's awesome. Yay. Right on! When we reach 50 subs, by the way, we are giving away we're giving away books. That's what we were doing. And I believe I said physical books at that point. So that is awesome. Right on. Bio break flips the table. I know you just got here. I'm so sorry. I promise it'll be really quick. Okay, I'll be right back. In the meantime, tell me in the chat, guys, what you'd like me to do with the last, I don't know, 45 minutes or so of the stream. Do you have birthday articles for me to look at? Do you guys want me to talk about some particular issue of writing? Do you have writing questions? Or do you want to go back to helping me edit my Black Arrows military formation article? Your choice. I'll go with whatever the consensus says. I'll see you in a few minutes. Alright, we are back. Sorry about that, guys. Alright, catching up in the chat. First, I'll say good night, Elvin Shoes, and thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night, or on Wednesday, or, you know, or Tuesday. I'm gonna get a hold of Aaron. Oh, we're around. So, we'll be around. See you later. Yeah, all this, you know, E Songbird expressing the screaming she was doing when the 15-minute deadline, 15-minute deadline extension happened in the World Anvil summer camp closing stream, which is hilarious. By the way, I sympathize, but at the same time, I bet that Janet and Dimitri were probably watching your stream for a couple of seconds, or Secondhand Samurai probably mentioned your stream for a couple of seconds before that that episode, before they did their stream, and they probably did it for you, right? I would totally not be surprised at all if that is what they did, right? Because they're like, oh, people are like absolutely panicking to get it done, and you know, we were feeling the tension. So even though it may have enraged you at the time, because and I don't blame you, I would have felt the same way after that, you know, oh my god, I have like 30 seconds, I have to get this done, you know, and I was like, oh my god, I hope she gets it done, you know, on the edge of my seat, right? But I bet they did that just to make sure that your submission would be counted, and that the system had the time to process all the information that you had done. I would not be surprised at all if that were what was the case. So they did it because they love you, not because they were out to get you. Yeah, we were totally thinking of you. Danny saying that she's like, yeah, we were thinking of you. Oh my gosh, yes, my jaw dropped. Yeah, then I went, well, at least she's done. Now she can spend the next 15 minutes shaking her fists at the stream. I'd have felt that way too. Oh my god, so I would have. Yeah, that last panic sprint was something. Author Goddess says, I need to pick a project to work on today. A vampire goth metal band horror mystery, or an extreme sports blind date romance. Decisions. Well, you know me, I'm always for the speculative fiction, so write me some vampires. If you're asking my opinion, I'm all for the vampires. You know, extreme sports blind date romance could be fun too, but I'm all for the vampires. Okay. People have different opinions. Dazzlecat says, yay, I have finished the cursory edits of all my summer camp articles. I personally hate you now. No, I'm kidding. No, of course I don't. But I'm congratulations, and I'm bitterly jealous. I have a lot of work to do before that's going to be done. It's going to be at least a week, probably, before the cursory edits are going to be done. And then the fine-tuning begins, right? And part of that is my schedule, and part of that is I'm picky, and part of that is I write long articles. It serves me right. So, the deeper in-depth edits will have to wait. Yes, fair enough. Author Goddess says to Danny, yeah, good point. It's also the one with a deadline. We'll always do the one for the deadline. You know that. Do the one for the deadline. As I've said repeatedly, and I know that Author Goddess has done this too, I am often motivated by screaming panic of procrastination and looming deadline. You know, I get 24 hours. Danny says, Dazzlecat, you'll be able to look at them with completely fresh eyes when you pick them up after August. Yep. I'm not as concerned about the edits for my articles, to be honest with you, as I am for the edits for my novels, right? I feel that the art form is different. The worlds exist for two purposes. The first is that they work as a series Bible for me, so that I have a reference of all the stuff I need where I can see it, which, yeah, is amazing. But I've learned that by making most of that information available to the public, it also serves very well as a like a fan wiki, even though I'm the one maintaining it, because readers can check it out and find out about things in the world, right? Or people can get interested in reading it, hopefully by these, you know, little quotes and ideas about things that are going on in the story, right? So I just make as much of that available for free as and to the public as I possibly can, right? And it seems to be a strategy that's working, right? I really feel the support from World Anvil, right? The community is kind of picking up on what I'm doing, and I really appreciate that. So thank you guys, and I'm going to continue doing that, putting that out there as long as people want to see it, right? My patrons responding very well to it. They've not responded to anything I've done, as well as they've responded to my work on World Anvil. So we're really excited about that, and you know, we're gonna keep doing it. It's gonna keep happening. Songbird says, "Ooh, I didn't think about that. I seriously laughed after a second. If what?" Danny says, Sable or audio, oh yes, I was so invested in Esong's success there. So was I. I would have cried if she hadn't gotten it done. I would have literally cried. I would have been like, no! Because she worked so hard, and she tried so hard to encourage other people, and she's such a beautiful, shining light of a person out there. I got to, how do I do this? There we go. Shining light. Amazing. So... yeah, the ultimate panic streamer was awesome. I think everybody was holding their breath. It was something. I think I need to save that stream, but I'm afraid to look at myself in that state. If you have a YouTube channel, export it directly to YouTube and then edit the information, and you never have to actually watch it again. There's my advice. Yeah. If not, highlight at least the last half hour. Yeah. Siobhan says, the investment of seeing someone else achieve goals. Well, that's the thing. We're a community, right? We've all become friends over the course of this, if we weren't before. And, you know, you're like, no, no, no. You know, you're like, it's like cheering on your sports team, but more invested. It's like cheering on your buddy who's in a contest, and you're like, come on, you can do it. And that's what makes Nano fun, too, by the way. Have a scribe save it for you, says Dazzlecat. Another useful solution. Oh, Author Goddess says, oh, dystopian extreme sport blind date romance. Well, that just made that a lot more interesting to me. Dystopian extreme sport blind date romance. So, like, the good parts of the Hunger Games. Sign me up. I'm in. Or like, Rollerball, or for those of you... There's your old fogey sci-fi nerd credit, by the way, if you know what I'm talking about, by Rollerball. Right? Or The Running Man, which, by the way, was a much better novella than it was a movie. Just saying. Yeah, oh, good plan. Have him clip some highlights and you'll be good, says Danny. E. Songbird says he was asleep for the stream too, so this week gave him a chance to see the pain. Oh, awesome! Thank you. Walking Dead Lover says, Sable, I gave you beta reader access to my World and manuscript, Wolfbound, so you can read the prologue now whenever you want. Thank you so much. I will check that out. Probably it's going to be a couple of days, but I will definitely check it out. Absolutely. Thank you for that. That's great. I can't wait to see it. That's awesome. I'm excited. It looks so interesting. I love your cover, by the way, right? That's good marketing, right? Which is what a cover is supposed to do. Right? Draws me in, makes me want to know more about it. And the, you know, articles you've written and the excerpts you've put, right, make me think, oh, this is great. You rarely see, like, urban fantasy and dystopia together, right? That's pretty intense stuff. I can't wait to check it out. A Songbird says, I'm so grateful for writers that do that, because I'm often struggling with keeping track of characters and places and such. Oh gods, me too, even when I'm writing the damn book, because I am more of a pantser than a plotter, and I forget what eye color I gave Ther Sylvana back in book 1, you know? E. Songbird says, bless you, Aaron. Bless the sneezing Aaron. Oh, you guys heard him, yeah. Yeah, it's because my webcam mic is just kind of open and it's pretty available. It's actually the webcam mic. I have a podcast mic, but we just leave it in the living room because that's where we broadcast our games on Monday nights, and it's easier that way. But the webcam mic is good enough that I don't need it. So, just joking. No, it's a bad allergy day here today, is what it is, guys. There's a forest fire near here. It's the season for it in the Okanagan Valley. It's like Okanagan Falls, which is like an hour and 15 minutes drive from here, I think, south of us. And there's a lot of fine particulates in the air, right? Also, it's been very dry for a couple days, so now there's dust. And also, the goldenrod is blooming, so between all of that, I'm having a rough allergy time too. Oh, by the way, Danny, check it out. These are the new glasses. These are the new specs. What do you think? Right? And what does little Danny think? Mini Danny, because these are the brand new specs. And I gotta say, it's interesting because I've got more progressive lenses than I was picturing. My eyes are more screwed up than I thought they were. Right? And it's really fun being able to like actually read the fine print on this, you know, carbonated water, beet sugar, clarified lemon juice, you know, right, on, you know, one of these, right, or the pill bottles, right, but I find it's weird because when I was first putting them on, and I'm not used to them yet, right, like I don't have to wear them all the time, but I'm that's what the optometrist said. And I says, well, I don't need them when driving, they say, right? And she says, well, you may want to wear them when you're driving. You may find it more effective. So what's happening is, if I think about it, right, that my, you know, computer screen, which should be rectangular, is actually more of a trapezoid at the bottom. That's kind of what it's doing to my vision. But it's so much easier to see things, and I'm getting less of a headache, and I'm not getting crick in my neck or my back because I can sit back here and read the chat, which is great. You notice you're not like posture checking me all the time as I'm ducking my head to squint at the screen, right? So, there are lots of people cheering E Songbird on. Yes, yes, we all wanted you to succeed. Aw, says to Dinosaur Bob. E Songbird says to Dinosaur Bob, I'm 100% serious when I say I would not have made it without you. That's amazing. Author Goddess says, good parts of the Hunger Games. So, a short. Burn, burn. Siobhan says, which Running Man movie? Author Goddess says, Solar Babies. I know Solar Babies. I know Solar Babies. Cool. Ooh, that's an old movie, says Dazzle Cat. Congratulations, you win the Old Fogey Sci-Fi Nerd Award as well. You get to be in the club because you knew what we were talking about. Walking Dead Lover says, aw, thanks. I made the cover with Photoshop and whatever images I could find. Also looked up paranormal romance book covers and realized I didn't like them, so I went my own route. Well, I like it. It's got my attention, and I was checking that out long before we had started communicating on Discord and going, oh, that's interesting. I probably would enjoy that. I should check that out when I have some time. So, yeah, Siobhan's like, I color and name some secondary characters. She's feeling the pain. She's been writing a novel for almost a year now. She knows all about it. He says, nah, I got pot smoke up my nose. Probably he did. Author Goddess dies. Yeah. Danny Adventure's nice. Yeah, Walking Dead Lover says, you can read, right? Then they're perfect. Yes. Yes, I can read. I actually like the look of them, too. Sometime I'll get I left the shade part. They've got, like, these magnetic clip-on sunglasses things that you put in front of them. They're, like, really funky. And so I left them in the car, because I figured that's where I'll need them. But I should show you sometime, because I think it's got a very Aubrey Hepburn look, and I like it. So. Old show. Logan's Run. Yep. Decent movie. Awesome book. A classic. Yeah, just called Logan's Run on this side of the pond. Yeah. And it might have been Run Logan Run on the other side of the pond, which is interesting. I did not know that piece of information. Snorts, you ready for this? She says they look like hers without the tiger stripes, which makes them still cool, but not tiger cool. That is totally fair. Tiger cool is cool. I was looking at some fancier stuff. Like, I like stuff that's like, you know, really fancy. With there was stuff with like rhinestones and stuff with tiger stripes, and you know, there are these bright red ones. But I went with these because I figured that, you know, they'd go with anything, and you know, I thought they looked good on, you know, the author picture, which I'm now gonna have to redo a picture of because the picture that I've got is sufficiently old now that I need a new one. So yeah, but tiger cool is cool. I totally give you that. You absolutely win. That is neat. I would love to see them sometime. That's cool. Right on. Dazzle Cat says, here too, my memory is faulty, and I am south of the Canadian border. Right, okay, so yeah. Oh well. I think it might have been called Run Logan Run in the UK though. I could be wrong. So glad that new glasses are working so well for you, says Danny. Yeah, it's really great. I had a bit of a headache the first day, but I was so pleased with the lack of neck and back pain and shoulder pain that I stuck with it, and now I'm, you know, if I'm sitting in front of the computer, I'm sitting back here like I'm supposed to be, tippity-tappitying away, and I can see everything great. So it's just so much better. Alright, so we have about half an hour left in the stream. Seeing no other thoughts about what to do with the time, we're going to go back to editing. Unless anybody has any comments or questions. Let's help you out. Yes, you totally can. Writing. Okay, that's an option. If you guys want, we could do word sprints today for the next little bit. I'm open to that, if people would prefer. I wasn't going to do it initially, but I kind of expected to have more birthday articles to look at, so I'm open to it. Edits, says Songbird, who senses that I am procrastinating. We can finish the article. Edits are good too. Personally, I'm sprinted out, but I'm also willing to support people. I totally hear you there, and that's also kind of the reason why I'm doing this way today. Because I'm kind of sprinted out too, but I'm like, well, if you guys want to, we'll do it. But yeah, I find that for myself, I have to change what I'm doing, right? You know, you got to change it up, right? I'm going back to manuscript writing as soon as my edits are done here, by the way, which is a totally different kind of writing, so it'll be like changing. You'll sprint while I edit. That sounds great. That makes perfect sense there, Author Goddess. Siobhan says, sprint done, collapses on bed to sleep for a week. Yeah. I totally hear ya. Okay, so we're gonna go on with some editing here. If anything sounds weird to you, let me know. And if anything you think, like, I'll ask you specific questions as we go. So we cut a big quote because we don't need it. I read manpower and equipment. Weaponry. There is little standardization of Black Arrow weaponry. This is, for those of you who did not see the beginning of this is my elite military unit. It's very important for the plot of the second book in the Toy Soldier Saga, right? So if you're not into spoilers, you may want to go la 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 and leave the stream now. But for those of you who are sticking around, it's a unit of elves who are infiltration and insertion specialists, so that they can assassinate and sabotage orcs. Right, that is what their job is. So, weaponry. There's little standardization of Black Arrow weaponry because they operate almost exclusively as small units, and because they have to be adaptable. However, Black Arrows are expected to be proficient with weapons that tend to be preferred by orcs. For men, this includes axes, short and long swords, daggers, short spears, crossbows, and occasionally maces or harpoons. For women, this includes daggers, crossbows, and their own claws. Vehicles. The Black Arrows Company trains in the use of Fomorian starfaring ships in case their mission requires their use. They have several restored Fomorian ships in their possession for this purpose. They also have a variety of small fighter and courier craft, which they use to get access to their targets, I should say. So I just noticed a grammar error there that I can fix. That needs an S. Link. Oh, okay, yes, I suppose I should do that, shouldn't I? That'd be smart. Oh, Aaron did it for me, thank you. I need this spoiler for game purposes, says Siobhan. You sort of do, actually. Siobhan is playing the, because our game on Monday nights is the prehistory of the novels of this world, she is playing the character who will eventually become the commander of this group, the commanding officer. So, and this was the character's idea. So, structure. Command structure is necessarily somewhat fluid in the Black Arrows, since they are required to adapt to a variety of conditions and situations. A squad is typically led by a squad commander, usually the highest ranked elf among them in order of seniority, typically a lieutenant or a warrant officer. From there, Black Arrows answer directly to Captain Lilas Madrimlian, who is the mastermind of the Permafrost Project. Captain Madrimlian answers directly to the Admiralty for security reasons. Here's my sidebar we might as well look at. That's their logo, right? And something I intend to put in their history, which I haven't done yet, although I might put it in the sidebar as kind of a, that's an idea. Okay, so there's something for my sidebar. There's a religious element to the choice of symbols. The black arrows are chosen because they're associated with the god Hearn, who, according to, or has an oath of vengeance that he took, right, as part of his mythology. Right, and perhaps writing a bit about that myth there, or creating an article about that myth and then linking it there in the sidebar might be a good idea, because then people will understand why the black arrows. This, of course, this skull thing with the tusky bits is supposed to represent an orc skull. That's the best that I could get from a utility that I was using, and I thought, yeah, it works. Looks like an orc to me. So. Type Special Forces overall training elite, assumed veterancy, decorated, honored. Yeah, they're the types who get medals and then the medals go away in a box, right? So that's who they are. Necessarily sounds somewhat awkward. I appreciate the grammar assistance on this. When I am spewing things out, I have a tendency to be redundant, so, and use adverbs that I don't require. Necessarily sounds awkward. How about by necessity? Would that be better? Yes, okay. Thank you for that. By necessity. Did I spell that right? Yes, okay. Okay, so by necessity, somewhat fluid. There we go. Tactics. Black Arrows specialize in small unit guerrilla tactics, intelligence gathering, infiltration, espionage, sabotage, and elimination of strategic targets. They are given a great deal of independence and leeway in the field to facilitate these goals. Yeah, feel free to comment as you go if you see anything that trips you up like Dazzlecat is doing. I'm going to keep referring back to the chat. Right, so here's another thing. Training. Move it, Bolvi! Captain Wintervale bellowed as Shandar brought up the rear of the morning run. He pursed his lips around his tusks and picked up the pace. He was not in the mood for Captain Wintervale this morning. The muscles of his thighs felt like they were on fire, and they were quivering on the outside of his leg where the compound fracture that had once torn his tendons and flesh. Not that he was going to let her know that. So I tried to choose a very brief quote that gave the impression that this was a lot of physical work that he is not used to, right? Okay, so once the prospective Black Arrow has agreed to join the program and the arrangements have been made, they are taken to the tiny draconian ice world of Permafrost to train in a hidden underground base. The interior climate is designed to match the hot tropical world of Alatha, the Fomorian homeworld, as closely as possible. Captain Wintermist says, Siobhan, Captain Wintermist is one of the people who is assisting with the training there. Yes, it is. It is not intended to be Captain Madrimlian. She is a trainer who is involved in the program, and she answers to Captain Madrimlian, even though they have the same rank as far as that program goes, especially because Madrimlian has seniority, right? Which is nothing that anybody else needs to know, right? That is totally individual for you. So, all right. But no, it was not a mistake. Thanks for checking, though. Code names in training, neat. Yes, they try not to tell each other who they really are, because what you don't know, you can't tell. Hey, Sable, says Aegon, and Aegon TV is now hosting. Thank you for the host, much appreciated. Nice to see you. Oh, and Rule Society is hosting me too. Yay! I'm only going to be on for like 15 more minutes, though, I think. Who's on after me? Yes, Kahuna. So we're raiding Kahuna after this. Just FYI. Right? And I can't stay late today because my mom is coming over. So. Oh, Siobhan says, no, I was thinking of our game. Isn't there a winter mist in there? Yes, Aaron did throw that in. I did notice that. And I don't specifically remember what winter mist was doing. All right. But it was not the same. I don't think it was the same Captain Wintermist. Black Arrow recruits are required to decide on an orcish form and identity to assume, and then they must live as that orc. Recruits are expected to learn the orcish language and speak it exclusively if they can. They eat orcish food and study classes on orcish culture and religion. Admittedly, this is an elvish perspective on these subjects, and as many Black Arrows could attest to, there are certain extremely wrong assumptions and gaping holes in this training. This may be a plot point. As time goes on, they are also expected to adopt more and more of an orcish lifestyle. Magical studies are also offered to improve mage skills. Combat, strength, and endurance training continue at an extremely high level throughout the time the Black Arrows spend off the field, which is necessary to allow them to keep up with their extremely physical and combative enemies. Which is basically a way of saying that orcs are typically, on average, physically stronger and bigger than elves. So, especially since these guys have to be mages in order to have the skills to do this in the first place, they really have to bust their hump to try to be anywhere near as strong as the average orc. So, that is a really important part of training. Yeah, on Peridot, that's right there, Siobhan. Training differs for men and women because the life skills and behavior expected of male and female orcs are different. Often, female Black Arrows find themselves struggling to learn traditional homemaker's arts, just as male Black Arrows struggle to keep up with a much more physical regimen. In addition to being trained to be convincing orcs, Black Arrows are also trained. I just realized I again had another. This is why you read things out loud, right? It's very helpful to read things out loud because you hear where things sound funny, and you also see where there are mistakes, right? Are also trained to be consummate soldier assassins. Classes include strength training, Fomorian starfaring ship operation, manual dexterity, insertion tactics, anatomy lessons, physical conditioning, and hand-to-hand combat in a brutal orcish style. The regimen is exhausting, and it is not uncommon for trainees to wash out of the program. Perhaps 1 in 4 of the carefully selected prospects actually see it through to the end. If a trainee quits or fails, all memory of their experience in the program is wiped from their minds. False memories to replace them may be implanted, or the memory may simply be left blank, whichever is most convenient for the cover story that the Navy manufactures to explain why the Marine was thought to be dead and what had happened to them in the meantime. Thought, which I also need a spelling mistake for. Thought. Many such trainees are led to believe, not left to believe, led to believe that they were in some kind of spacefaring accident and comatose for a time. Been doing that myself lately, says Siobhan. The things with the though and thought, accidentally forgetting the T. I didn't forget the T, it's just that I type so fast it gets lost. Okay. But yeah, I do it a lot. It's a very common typo for me. Like I said, throw in comments, guys, if you have any. Logistics. And I'm not finished this section yet. I'm still filling out bits of this, but Auxilia. By necessity, Black Arrows receive minimal auxiliary support. Security limits the number of elves cleared to know the details of their work, and their small-scale, in-the-field tactics usually make support difficult at best anyway. A number of spellcasters and scions support the company by information gathering and passing intel up the chain, and a number of logistical support staff see that they get the equipment they need. The division they work the most closely with is intelligence, for obvious reasons. And I just realized that's kind of... I should probably say that. I typically skip that, but there I think it's needed. The division that they work the most closely with, right? That they work the most closely with, because then it makes the sentence more clear. Siobhan says, yeah, that and reading things aloud to catch oddities. It's very helpful. Change your medium, right? If you're looking to do editing, it's very helpful to change your medium, and it can do things like read it out loud, right? Or... Yes, thank you, eSongbird. I didn't realize the audio cut out. That's shitty. I was agreeing with you. She says, audio cut out a second, but the sentence started out with the section they worked the most closely with sounded clunky. In the quote of being yelled at by winter mist is cool, but redundant as that sentence really explains how tough it is. Ah, my phone. Got a phone call. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, do you think I should keep the quote, guys? I think it looks good. In this case, you're right, it's not necessary, but in this particular case, it breaks up a wall of text. Right, and I'm not sure which need is greater there. I did ask people to look for, whether or not the quotes were redundant. I recognize it's a very long article. Dazzlecat's like, not sure. Yeah. eSongbird says, well, give me a sec pulling it up on my computer. Just got to a point where I could. No worries. We got a few minutes. We got time. So go ahead. And, yeah, I'm not sure, right? I like the breaking up of that, but you're right. We don't really need it. Yeah, I agree with you about the division they work the most closely with is intelligence for obvious reasons being awkward. And I think the part you missed with the audio cutting out was that I had decided that it was, and I said, I think I need to add the word that. So I did, and now the sentence reads, the division that they work the most closely with is intelligence, for obvious reasons. Or should I say the intelligence division, maybe, is... I think I should. The intelligence division. You know what? And I probably should make this its own thing. The AIN Intelligence Division. And I'll do that as its own formation sometime. And actually, Probably when I do, back here they've got a line for parent formation, and I imagine that the intelligence division probably is their parent formation, and I should add that at a later time when I have that done. Yeah, breaking up text is needed too. Okay. Besides, isn't Winter Mist a Marine? I don't know what that was in response to, Aaron. I'm sorry. E. Songbird says, which quote number? It's quote number... okay, that's the open one. That's the second one. The second one. Right, move it, Bolvi, Captain Wintervale bellowed. Oh, the rank thing. That's what you were answering question 2. Yes, Captain Wintervale is a Marine. Or Winter Mist is a Marine. Oh, Winter Mist is a Marine. No, we're mixing up Winter Mist and Wintervale now. Right? Yeah, Winter Mist is a Marine, I think. Yeah. Okay. E. Songbird says, I'd almost rather say they work most closely with the intelligence division for obvious reasons. You're right, that's much more simple. Let's do that. Good work. Thank you. That is helpful. So we're back in logistics, I believe, for that. Yeah, I like the way you put that. So I'm basically going to steal that right out of the chat. There. They work most closely with the... I'll say Avalonian. Avalonian, because, hey, you know what? The Fomorians have their own intelligent stuff too, of course. That is annoying. I hate that when that happens. There. Just to get that off the page. There we go. Okay. Yeah, they work most closely with the Avalonian Intelligence Division for obvious reasons. Well done. Good work. I like that much better. Okay. Thank you for that. Right, she is. That's my voice. No, that's a much better way of saying it. It has nothing to do with voice there. That's, you know, succinct. It's better writing. It's good stuff. Yeah, that's the kind of thing you wanna work on with your editor, right? That's the kind of thing where you want to clean up your writing, you know? But I was asking about trims. Yes, Wintervale is who I meant. Yes. Yes, so that's a different thing. A Marine captain is, I believe, of a lower rank than a naval captain, right? So they're not the same thing, right? So if Wintervale is a Marine and Madrimlian is a naval captain, then Madrimlian outranks her. So I'm ambivalent about quote 2, in or out. For me, I don't find it adding much, which makes me want to ask, is there another quote that might fit it better? I have a few. We could go through some of them. Because I describe the training a lot. Like, I spend a couple of chapters on it. I want people to see this guy go from, like... Okay, so there's some culture shock stuff here. Are we looking at? No, we're not. Okay, so I will try to change the caption and take you to my manuscript now. Yeah, Aaron says way lower. Yeah, Madrimlian is the Marine equivalent of a colonel. Yeah, exactly. Don't want you to think I'm applying pressure. Well, it's worth looking at. Dazzlecat wasn't too shit-hot happy about it either, right? And remember, I don't know, you weren't here at the beginning. Here's my philosophy when I'm going through beta readers or edits, right? I put it out there, and if one person says, I don't like that, right? And I did, right? Then I go, okay, thanks, right? And if another person Why did you just go blank like that, for Christ's sake? Okay, sorry. All right, so if one person liked it, I go, thanks. That's cool to know, right, and be aware of. And, you know, if 2 people say it, I go, I guess I'd better think about that. Did I actually really like it this way, or does it need work, right? And if 3 people say it, I go, okay, that needs to be changed. Clearly I am wrong, right? So that's kind of my philosophy with it, and it's a way of, you know, we get very defensive about our writing, right? There are babies, right? And, you know, but you can't do that if you're going to do it professionally, because people are not going to like what you write, and sometimes you're wrong about some things, right? Sometimes there are better ways to put stuff. So, you know, you've got to, if anything, okay, the number 1 rule of thumb I find is that if it's something that you feel is a violation of your vision, right, then don't do it, right? If everything in your gut goes, no, and ties itself up like this, whatever it was suggested, don't do it, right? But if you get defensive and you cry about it, and then you come back later on and you're like, you know, they might have a point, maybe think about it, right? I try to have a much thicker skin than that. I'm not personally invested in, my self-image is not dependent on me having picked every word correctly. I don't, right? That's what first drafts are for. This is a complete first draft. I didn't even edit it at all. I was just like, okay, I gotta get it done. Blah! Here's my word vomit. Right? So yeah, it's ugly, and it's okay if it's ugly. And if other people have suggestions that make it better, I'm quite happy to listen to them. You know, I think that, and that's part of why I wanted to do this on stream, right? I wanted to demonstrate this because it is really easy to get defensive. And this is why I always, when I give critiques, make sure to emphasize anything that I really liked first, because these are our babies, and it's hard to put them out there and have someone tell you it's ugly. Right? But I have a pretty thick skin about it. I'm okay, right? My self-image isn't invested in my first draft being, you know, the works of Shakespeare, right? You know, it's not important to me. So, you know, go ahead and tell me. It's cool. Yeah. Don't want you to think I'm applying pressure. Dazzlecat says, have a quote of a female black arrow getting frustrated with the womanly duty training, since that is covered the least in the training. What an excellent idea. I think I like that. What do you guys think? I do have that. That exists. That's a thing. I have that quote, of course, because naturally they're not all going to take to it well. I certainly wouldn't. So... yeah, she wants you to see just how cruel she can be. Yes, I do. And that's important to the plot of my novel, Siobhan, but it's not necessarily important to the article, right? The article has a different need, and what the article's need is illustrating to you what being a black arrow is about, right? What does it involve, and how does it work? Right? So if, I mean, like, I'll keep the quote in the novel, right? It's important to the plot, but it's not important to the nature of the black arrows in an encyclopedia fashion, right? So I can replace it with something else that does give more enlightenment, and I think Dazzlecat's onto something. So, I hate the types of people, says Walking Dead Lover, who comment about something you're doing wrong and comparing it to some author to point what you need to change to make it better. Okay, yeah, that's bullshit. Don't ever do that, right? You shouldn't sound like any other author. You should sound like yourself. You should have your own voice, right? But I'm comfortable. I have my own voice now, right? I don't, you know, I know where my influences are. And if somebody said to me, you know, geez, you sound a lot like X, right? And I would own up to it. If it's something that was an influence, I'd be immediately like, yeah, well, that makes sense because I read a lot of their books. So it doesn't surprise me at all. And thank you for the compliment, you know? But yeah, don't do that to somebody else, because everybody's writings is individual. I'm totally with you, Walking Dead Lover. That is just mean. You don't serve any constructive purpose doing that. You're just being cruel, right? You're just being cruel. There's no point in that. Yeah. Happy little drafts, says Author Goddess. That's right. I'm just gonna make my happy little drafts right here with my Bob Ross, and you know, I'm not gonna worry about mistakes, because mistakes are happy accidents, right? Yeah, exactly. Sometimes they really are, actually. That's a whole other topic. But Siobhan says, I submitted for feedback to improve. Yes, well, that's it, I do want to improve. So I'm not afraid of critique, right? Okay, remind me, right? Somebody remind me that I'm going to do a stream sometime on how to give a good critique. Because there is a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it, right? And the right way is, if it's helpful, it's the right way. If it's not helpful, it's not the right way. And being an asshole is never the right way. There's ways to do it. Now, I will help, because I know that a lot of people feel uncomfortable giving critiques too. But you can do it, and you can be really beautiful about it. Oh wow, the chat just kind of went insane. Yeah. Aaron says, your baby is ugly, Sable! Yes, it is. Author Goddess says, Shakespeare wrote dirty jokes. This is a first draft. This is what first drafts look like. They're ugly, right? I hope actually that gives some people who may be newer writers some confidence, right? I qualify as a professional. People have paid me for my work. I've been traditionally and independently and small press published. And this is what my first draft looks like. It's ugly. It's messy. It uses too many adverbs. It has quotes that don't add anything to it. It's got clunky sentences, right? All first drafts are ugly. It's really okay. They get better. That's what your editor's for, and your beta readers. Yeah. Yeah, I like that a lot. Do it! Everyone's saying in response to Dazzlecat's idea. So it's in. I will do that. I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to finish the edit today, though, because we're already over time. But I'm totally going to do that, and thank you. That was very helpful. All right. Impalo Palma is here. Hello, nice to see you. Welcome to the stream. I'm sorry you're just catching me at the end. But as to mention context for the training, I thought, well, half focused, that the women would have thought that training important. Yeah, well, it is, right? Because the thing about elven culture is that they don't put a lot of stock in gender, right? They don't even have a lot of words to define the difference between men and women, right? Mother, father, maybe some titles, but nothing, nothing important, right? And the term of address is generally gender neutral, right? All kinds of gender expressions are valid in the culture. Orcs, totally different animal. Totally different animal, right? Orcs have very well-defined... Oh, thank you for the follow, Impello Palma. Awesome. My program is kind of stuck here. I hope I'm still streaming. I'm gonna flip back to something else here. Okay, alright. It was just my graphics card being stupid. Okay, great. Yeah. Right, so yeah, there's a lot of them, I mean, they're soldiers, right? They're not used to cooking and cleaning and, taking care of their husbands, these elven soldiers, right? And the truth is, while they get frustrated with it, they're not even, it's not like they view it as like, okay, I tend to get very defensive about being cast in that type of role. I get into it with my mother-in-law because she seems to expect me to be the one. If the house is messy, guess who she yells at, right? And I'm like, I work 14 hours a day, bitch. I live with, 3 guys. They're quite capable, thank you. And that's my attitude, right? So, yeah. Right? But that's because I live in a culture where we constantly feel that pressure. Elves don't feel that pressure, right? It's not a thing for them. They have less sexual dimorphism in their species. They don't care, right? So, they're like, oh, this is interesting and new in some cases. I just suck at it, or I have no ability to do it. They don't tend to be immediately opposed to it, right? So that's an interesting thing too, right? And there's also a thing in there where Shondar, right, is like, well, why is their training different? Well, because men and women do different things in Orc society. It's like weird. That's just like weird. Why would you do that? Why did you just not do whatever you're most suited for? Okay, so yeah. Yeah, welcome and thank you for the follow. Really appreciate it, Impello Palma. Aaron Reese says, Gutenberg Printing Press famously printed the Bible first. Everyone knows that. Anyone want to take a guess at the second thing it printed was? I know what it was. Yeah, Aegon says, yes, telling anyone their art should be like someone else's art. Constructive, not destructive criticism. Yes, there's no need to tear other people down. There's no need for that. That helps no one. And if you're telling yourself, well, I'm just being honest, there's a way to be honest and not be a jerk. Okay? And if you can't not be a jerk, you're better off not saying anything. That's my opinion. Because you can shatter a person's dreams in a careless word. And there's no need to do that. Reminder, give a stream on how to give a good critique. Okay, thank you, Songbird. No, I meant later, right? Remind me next week when I'm going, what was I doing this week? Tell me that. Okay. Kama Sutra says, author goddess, close. Aegon says, I like a good critique because I want to be a better writer. Me too. Yep. Walking Dead Lover says, I'm considering the rewrite of Wolfbound as a first draft since I'm actually doing world building now. Makes sense to me. Author Goddess says, I like adverbs. Pry them from my cold, dead hands. I tend to argue about adverbs with my editors too. But I do overuse them. My very first novel that I finished, novel, not nonfiction book, different story. But the very first novel that I finished was a fanfic for NaNoWriMo, and the more words you have, the better. So nobody had any objection to my adverbs. And then I started like getting things out there and trying to get professional, and people were like, you use way too many adverbs, and I like, but you need to describe how things feel, but I do kind of overuse them. But you're right, I think people go way too overboard in this. Author Goddess is totally my opinion. And I think that fad will pass. But right now, it's important to good writing. Okay. Siobhan says, I got the comment about the fact that I seem to jump POV, or could be the third person omniscient like writers from the 60s and 70s, and that was a choice on my part. Yeah, that's fair, right? But there's a way to do that. And I promise to edit your book, and if we run into that when we get there, I'm not reading her book till it's done, right? Because I'm gonna do her edit, at least her preliminary edit, and I wanted to come at it with as much fresh eyes as possible. Siobhan is like an in real life friend. She's like, you know, my in-person, you know, bestie, right? So I'm okay. So I wanted to look at it with fresh eyes. Okay, if we run into that there, right, and it's a stylistic choice on your part, which I respect, I will help you do it in a way that is not clunky. So. Aaron Ryu, you can't leave us hanging. Yeah, that's right. The second thing it printed was an anthology of erotic stories, with pictures, woodcuts, by the way. The Gutenberg Press, that is the second thing it printed. Nobody ever tells you that in history class. Excuse me. Yes, you were. Yes, you were, growls alluringly. What? Yeah, sex and religion, the fascination of humanity, says Author Goddess. Yep, absolutely. Or what was it that Terry Pratchett said? The difference between the falling angel and the rising ape. The place where they meet. Dazzlecat says, because they're orcs, that's why. Yes, you know what I'm talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. This is cool. Okay, picks or the position isn't doable. Aha! I must have missed something. Oh well. No, it's cool, guys. Okay, we're already 12 minutes over. Woodcuts. Oh yeah, the woodcuts. Exactly. Yeah, illustrated with woodcuts. Uh-huh. I'll look it up sometime. Yeah, it's very interesting. Nobody ever talks about that. I don't wonder why. Okay, so yeah, I would like to thank you all for your help with my article today. If you like, we can revisit this in the next, I I don't know. Well, I'll bring it out as an option on Wednesday for Diane Writes. We could revisit it, or we could concentrate on word sprints, because by then I'm going to want to dig into the meat of my manuscript that I meant to be working on this month, right? So it's totally up to you which you want to do. That'll be a Weird West manuscript, by the way. And, you know, I don't know. How do you guys want me to handle that? Do you want me to do like a poll on my Discord server? Do you guys want me to just ask you in the chat the next time that I start? Which, by the way, will be Wednesday at 1 p.m. So, you know, you guys have any strong opinions about it now? You want me to set up a stream poll and run it for the streams for the next couple of days? I don't know what you want us to do. Siobhan will be working. Okay. Surprise us. You guys didn't come here. You guys came here to hang out mostly, and that's cool. I'm teasing. I don't know. I don't know why you guys came here. I come to hang out sometimes. I don't even care what the streamer's doing. Right? With this group, I just come to be with my friends now. So if that's why you're here, that's awesome. And thanks. That's great. Hang out and learn. Yeah, me too. Come to hang out. It's always a good time. You bet. I agree completely. Aw, heart's back. That's great. Thank you. Alright, we're going over to Kahuna. That's what we're going to do. Our raid shout is prepare to be boarded, because we are the Sable's privateers. I should invite you to my Discord, but most of you are already in my Discord, aren't you? Let's see here. You know what? I'll tell you what. Since I know most of you, hit me up on Discord, and I'll invite you to my Discord. Let's do that. Or would you like me to put the link in the chat? I can if you want. Oh, never mind. I forgot that I programmed Moobot to do that. I'm an idiot. Moobot. Thank you, Moobot. You're great. Oh, Moobot. Awesome. Alright, we're going to Kahuna. Have a good day, guys. And tomorrow night we will be streaming Toy Soldiers Old School, which is the campaign that takes place in the about 400 years before the books of the Toy Soldier Saga. It is about to be the outbreak of the First Interstellar War. Brianna's character. It's a lot of fun. Check it out. We run that at 6 p.m. Pacific time. On Tuesday, Aaron streams Ask an Old GM, and he also streams that at Fridays. On Fridays, that is 1 p.m. Pacific time. And then 1 p.m. Pacific on Wednesdays, I stream Diane Writes. We also do monthly programs. I have a podcast called If This Goes On, Don't Panic, which is about hope and speculative fiction, which I do with some co-hosts in the science fiction and fantasy community. We interview all kinds of creatives, game designers, award-winning authors, right? It's a lot of fun. Come check it out, right? And it's approximately usually the first or second Thursday of a month at 3 p.m., I believe, Pacific time. And then we also do once a month, which is going to be 2 p.m. Pacific on the last Thursday of every month, ideally following the Tequila Starrise stream, the State of the Multiverse, where Aaron and I talk about what we have coming up in the community for the next month. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you over at Kahuna's here. Oh no, I've got to open my stream manager because I didn't. No, I don't. I have raid. Kahuna, if I can spell today, the Elder. Alright. Have a good day, guys. We'll see you on the flip side.